The Star.
Yeah, y'all already know. Seven the pan. That dude Fizz on the beat. Yeah. We live in entertainment. Sound change. Crown the kings, homie. This is where it get ill. About to have the tip off live as a tip drill. From the court to the diamond, to the track, to the big skin, flying around the field, starting five forever, keeping it real. If it matters in the world of sports, jeans and long sleeves, they taking no shorts. Hot the depot, yes, these are the sports podcasts, live as a pro's corpse. Biz market wave, the starting five goes off. No matter who you cheer for, emotions out the window, they analyzing with clear thoughts. They take it way deeper than the boys ever. No longer got any use for the four letters. The latest news, score stats and the view from the sideline. Ain't no guideline, it's just the truth. Yeah, no need to dig for a pardon line. It's always in season and people starting five. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. If the sports news you see, we don't waste time. We talking cause we live it. We got what you need. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. And y'all know me, seven sign, I'm the illest cat stick. I got what you need.
Each and every week, unlike last week, we definitely got what you need. This week, for sure, we're going to be doing a lot of laughing because, motherfuckers, that debate, woo, that debate was something else. But we're going to get there after we let you know that I am just as dumbfounded as you are about everything that was going on there. Because it's me, Mayor, that did your name H5, your mom's favorite fat guy from the deepest, darkest Africa. And we back. As always, we need y'all to hit the box. I forgot to flip my camera, but hit the box. Go to hookstrub.com, 20% off the order using the code START5. Y'all should have had some of your orders in already, seeing that the weather's finally breaking. I mean, but it's like the weather, TJ, it's not just breaking, like it's brought the roots whips out with it.
Yes. As it says under my name, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. It's been good. It's been very good. I'm glad we formed like Voltron today. You know that? I'm really glad we formed like Voltron today. This is going to be a good show today. Yo, I got rounds in the clip. The vest is up. I'm going to have to put my helmet on because I'm taking headshots only today. Coming for y'all today. This is going to be a good thing. What up, Jay?
What's going on, y'all? How's everybody?
Like the t-shirt.
Appreciate you, man. Pleasure to be here today. I like the agenda we got for today. Crazy week in the world this past week. I'm sure we're going to get into it. And I'm looking forward to chopping it up. I'm going to throw it over to the empty frame over there.
Did he make an ice run during the intros?
Oh, either ice or wanted to get him some Skittles or something.
Big chicken on the grill. Big chicken on the grill.
Or to get him some cane sweet tea or something. Oh, he's back. He got a sweet tea. All right.
Hey.
Oh man, yo, the show was over. Oh man.
You gotta introduce yourself. Oh, what's on you?
Yo, what up, y'all? What up, y'all, man? It's your boy Big O. Here, another week down. Yo, June was done in a flash, boy. God damn.
What's up?
Getting ready for the 4th of July, man. Y'all got your, well, not me ain't talking about nothing illegal on here, you know, but make sure y'all get ready for the grill.
It's legal in New York State now. Oh, you could say fireworks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's legal.
Fireworks.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
Fireworks is legal in New York State now?
Yes.
Oh, they
for
are?
the past like 3-4 years.
Oh.
Yeah, fireworks.
Nah, yo, the cops still be riding around, though.
This is true.
Yeah, because you do that shit after 10 o'clock. It's not good, bro.
just be careful.
That's why they coming around.
Y'all brothers are a little too old to be Jason Pierre-Pauling yourselves right now. So whatever you
No hair,
do,
no
you know,
hamburger helper gloves.
come on now. Niggas is 50 and too close to 50 to be, now trying to asking for help, asking somebody to help you button your shirt up for church. So, oh,
Got 9 fingers like Frodo.
bro, that stuff, you're going to have to wear Velcro sneakers, all that, man. Just be careful, man. That's why I don't touch no damn, I don't, I
Yo.
don't touch fireworks, bro, because at this point in my life, my concentration is too easily broken, bro. I'll be lighting some shit and
Yo,
somebody
got
call me. I'll be
hands.
like, what?
Boom.
JG got hands like a slee stack after you finish.
Fan
You know what I'm
words, right?
Mm.
Looking like
Talking about
Admiral
Flint,
Akbar on Empire Strikes Back and shit.
Flintstone fingers.
But what's up?
Straight,
Hey,
straight,
yo.
straight Cartoon Network hands. But anyway, filling in this place because Tyrone just sent a message saying that he's having connection issues, so he's not gonna be able to make it. We got the homie Ed Molina chilling with us today.
Off the bench.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nice surprise. I didn't know you were coming, bro. Yeah.
What's up, man?
Feeling this.
It was kind of last minute. I felt like I had my spider senses told me you guys were going to talk Knicks Nets and say his name.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get that out of the way right now because, like I tried to tell these guys, because the heavier portion of the conversation is later when we talk about beating that Bernie's three, which is the presidential debate, and these Lakers, which again, Tyrone is. He's the only Lakers fan, and he was here with us pre-show, but as we already know, connection shit happens. But yeah, man, the Nova Knicks. I feel like we're like a piece away now, Big O, from completing the full national championship team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yo, who's the final piece? Jay Wright? I mean, but yo, I'll be honest with you, yo, two, two of the best wing defenders in the league. It's gonna be hell for everybody else, man. It's gonna be hell for everybody else. Like I seen people already saying like, yo, it's gonna be a tug of war between Tibbs' style of coaching and Mikal Bridges' Iron Man streak. So we gonna see which one gonna fold first, man. But
I
yeah,
hate
man, it's a
that
team.
narrative.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a team. It's a team that's definitely built to challenge the Celtics. So yeah, man, we're gonna see. And all those picks that we gave up is gonna be in the 18s to 24 range, anyways, man. It's gonna be shit picks, anyways. It's not gonna
So
be no
you had
lottery.
you had not to bring our group chat to life fully, but especially you kind of had to like rethink that, I guess, and think over it after we was mentioning how like it it almost didn't feel too detrimental to us giving away those picks because we
Yeah,
we we got so many we're sitting on.
That's right.
yeah,
And then when you look at this year's draft, Jamal, it was like it wasn't a who's who like
No.
what we're normally used to. So are we really gonna miss them right now when I think the next few years of college basketball is not gonna be no big splash, especially comes out of American basketball.
yeah.
Here's what those picks got us, right? They were going to be picks up in the 20s anyway, right? We still hold on to a bunch of picks. He still held on to this year's picks. Nobody can name who the first pick is of this year's draft, right? Is there a player that was better than Mikal Bridges right now in that draft that you can say definitely was better than Mikal Bridges, right? All right, so the amount of picks, I know the narrative was, all those picks for a guy who's never made an all-star game and all that stuff, which is a dumb media narrative. It's like, come on, have you seen what this guy can do? There's a reason why the Nets commanded that many picks as well. They know what this dude can do.
That's a
But
barbershop narrative. That's
fam, what Mikal Bridges gives them is gives the Knicks playoff basketball for 4 years with the squad we got, at least. at worst case scenario, we got years of playoff basketball. For a team that's been as shitty as we've been for 2 decades, that's a win. That's a win. You know what I mean? At least you're going to be in the dance. So, and then it's all about how important that player is to the team you have. That big three shit is done. The big three thing is done. It's now teams now, as the Celtics done showed you. Going back to building teams and depth, which is where we ran into a problem last year. So I'm good with it. I think Leon Rose is one of the best execs in basketball. He's up there turning water into wine. And not that we're landing these superstar players, but who wants that now?
Yeah.
You want these dudes in their 40s that's going to command all this money and they're not winning nothing.
Well,
You
I
know?
will say water into Welch's grape juice right now.
That's
Because
fine.
the wine will come when we at least see the finals.
Here's why I say wine. Here's why I say wine. Do you see the shit he walked into when he got here?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Phil Jackson.
oh yeah.
Phil Jackson squad.
So at least,
Scott
all
Perry,
right. So I'll
Every
give you.
fucking thing every fan base said about our squad was the truth. It was facts.
I'll
And
give you. He turned us at least into
a professional basketball team.
a plastic bottle of vodka,
Yeah.
to where we can be on the store shelf.
Yeah.
But once we get ran through, once we get poured through the Brita filter, it really tastes like the best top shelf vodka. And then once we start to break that ceiling in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But TJ, I'm gonna come back to you because I want the Nets perspective now. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Don't take that serious, TJ. He's about to light my ass up. But I was just joking.
It's coming, bro.
I'm good.
I actually like both the trade for both teams. I'll preface it with this. I was expecting to trade Bridges this year. I didn't want to move into I always said to Knicks fans, because Knicks fans are always joking, texting me, hey, when are you going to give us Bridges? And I'm like, the way it was always framed is that you guys expected us to give him his money and walk over or across the bridge. It's like, nah, man, you got to pay. No easy passes here. You got to pay that toll. And so I was expecting 2 to 3 number ones, to be honest, for Bridges. I thought that was his market. When I saw 5 picks, I literally had to double check different websites because I'm like, 5 picks. Because that's almost about what Rudy Gobert went for. That's more than we got for KD. I think for KD we got 4 draft picks, if I'm not mistaken. So when we said
on paper we overpaid. On paper we overpaid.
I mean, but you did it. No, you did it. And the way I see this is the market is the market.
That's right.
There was a need. That was the guy you guys wanted, whether it was the fans or Leon Rose, right? And so the market is the market. If both teams feel that is his worth, who am I or who are y'all to say, nah, man, he's not KD? Maybe he's not KD, but he has a value to the Knicks. And honestly, he has a greater value to the Knicks than anyone else. So if that was the toll, I'm certainly not gonna complain over 5 draft picks. My big worry with the draft picks was please not this year, please not this year, please not this year. Because from what I've been reading is there are some generational players coming down the pipeline. The Nets are now set up.
Next 2 3 years, yes.
Yep. Yeah. The Nets are now set up. We have 4 number ones next year that we can play with. And everyone talks about, I've been getting pushback about, well, it's going to be a low draft pick from you, from the Knicks. It's going to be a low draft pick from Phoenix. You know who it's not going to be a low draft pick from?
Detroit.
Us. No, us. We stink. I want us to lose every game next year. I don't want to win a goddamn game next year. Not one game. I don't even want to lose to the G League team on practice. Because I am tankalicious. And the thing about tanking, we've seen it with Philadelphia and what they did with their tanking. You still got to draft well. But Sean Marks has a history of finding gems, especially late in the draft. We found Spencer Dinwiddie in the 2nd round. Karis LeVert was a late 1st rounder that blossomed into a great trade. Jared Allen was a great trade. So the one thing I don't have an issue with Marks, my issue with Marks is always choosing coaches. Jacques Vaughn didn't work out. Steve Nash didn't work out. I like Ron Atkinson, and they fired him because of KD and the gang. KD and the gang didn't. Yeah, and so I was ecstatic with the trade. I don't think I don't think of it in terms of winning and losing. I think of it as in terms of needs. That's capitalism to me. In terms of needs. You guys had a need for Bridges. We're starting there with Bridges. We are a 10 seed swimming in those waters forever. In a league where 60% of the teams go to the playoffs, being a 10 seed isn't good enough. It's just not. And so this gives us a chance with Ben Simmons's corpse contract almost at the end of its run. That's $40 million in cap space coming up next year. Or we could trade that for something of value. We got 5 draft picks. We got 4 number ones next year. We got almost 12 picks in the next 7 years in generational drafts coming down the pipeline. And we don't even know what's coming out of Europe. I'm going to start watching Euroball. I'm not even kidding about that. I'm going to start watching Euroball because I want the
Them
next
boys, the
Luka.
ball. Yeah.
Yeah, like they got some ballers out there. There's a 14-year-old kid that I already got my on raising
Hey yo,
pause. Yeah.
hey
Yo,
yo,
that's
thank you. Hey yo, hey yo. And
Hey,
you know,
Andy from the show, right?
funny enough, you say it like that because it's a constant and it's a consistent debate with me and JP whenever we talk about this. He loves high school basketball. Me, I kind of chalk that shit up to like, yo, I played high school sports. I have a child in high school. And it's just like I don't pay attention to high school sports if I don't have a kid in it. Now, yes, I get it. The foundations of shit, the origins of certain players, like you get it from that base level. But to be so heavily invested, especially when you don't have children, it just
It's creepy.
don't mind me. It's a little creepish.
No, it's
It's a little
creepy.
but
creepish.
But but
you know what,
but
Dan? You know what? It depends. It depends on where country you are, because high school football in Texas and Alabama and
That's
all them
it.
places
That's it.
is big sport.
Friday
Like
Oh
Night
yeah,
Lights
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is life.
and and and
yeah,
in Europe, I'm sorry, no, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
sorry. No, but I was gonna say in Europe, 14 and 15-year-olds are playing pro basketball if they're good enough. Like it's
Exactly.
yeah.
not like they're playing high school ball. I'm not out there to watch the
No, but
cheerleaders. I'm
that,
out there to
and
watch.
that's and that's the difference is you if you're a professional and you're 16, you're a professional. You're now being treated like an adult. That's my difference. But
Mhm.
I digress on that because you mentioned the tolls and TJ like congestion pricing is now off right now. So Mikhail Bridges kind of did get to cross the Brooklyn Bridge for free and stay within lower Manhattan with no extra tolls. Maybe a Metro card fare. And that's about it.
Yeah. So before this trade even happened, right? Everybody was asking, who can the Knicks get that's going to not affect the culture, right? It was like they were throwing Paul George out there. He's a little older. He's got probably 2 years left if he can play an entire season in those 2 years, but he wants 4 because he knows his last 2 years he'll be in a wheelchair. Um, then you got like there's Brandon Ingram, but he kind of doesn't sort of fit the culture. He's a good offensive player, but he really doesn't fit Tibbs' defensive style of ball. And there's a few others out there, and you're just like, you know, who's going to fit the culture? And then they pull this trade off, and you see how the culture is already. This has never been a more seamless fit than seamless fit as it is. This guy's walking into work with his best friends. You know what the fuck is like when you work with your best friends? It's lit. It's not even work anymore. You guys just go
yeah.
there because you got more time to chill with each other and fuck around. This is insane, bro. And these dudes, they've been recruiting him. Josh Hart with the stupid tweets going back and forth. With Blink twice, bro. We'll save you. Just if you need help, we'll come and get you. And that's exactly what he did.
You
Mikhail
see,
Bridges blinked, and then Knicks said, "You know what? Let's get this man over here."
It's
you
funny. It's funny you said
you
that
seen
because the rumor. It's funny you said that because the rumor is Bridges walked into that office and said, "I don't want to be here no more."
He
Now
did.
That's
me,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person is like I'm not holding you hostage. I don't care if you're Mikel Bridges or fucking James Harden. Like I'm not holding you hostage. If you're gonna be your problem here. I don't want you here. And the fact that we got 5 round draft picks for Mikel Bridges, I'm cool with that. Like I will happily oblige so long as the toll is fair and good, and in this case, it was. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you're right about that. Like I didn't want another situation. I didn't want, we already got Ben Simmons. I got to do it with another
Right.
disgruntled player. Like, come on.
Yo,
Right.
you saw bitch ass Halliburton talking about I've been in the group chats and it's borderline
Yeah, he
It's not
yeah.
tampering.
borderline. I
They
mean,
go,
it's
they
not.
gonna get sued.
It's
We gonna get hit with the tampering.
but that's
Tampering fine is gonna
okay.
be huge, but it's
But
fine.
that's okay. You
Yeah,
guys already did it once. You're gonna get away with it again, and that's
but
okay. That's business. I'm
Listen,
okay with that.
after the trade is done, you can't take it back. You can't be like, oh, so McKay, you got to
Plus,
go back to Brooklyn.
plus,
You know what I'm saying?
plus,
He's there
plus,
now.
it's not. Plus, legally, it's not collusion unless Leon Rose was involved in it. If it's
yeah,
if
Right.
us two texting each other, that's not collusion. That's friends
no.
Right.
wishful thinking about working together. So you
That
guys are
Plus,
Right.
fine in that
Right.
era.
plus,
Another thing though, if we didn't get hit, if Dallas didn't get hit with tampering and all that with them putting
costing
out
us
there
the
that they
pick.
tanking,
hmm
then we don't need to get hit either.
but look
Whatever.
at
That was
you mentioned Halliburton, and Halliburton was about to get his head clapped in anyways by our boy what's his name?
JB
Why why am I forgetting our damn point guard's name? Because he
Brunson.
was Jalen Brunson, because
Jalen
he was just
Brunson?
SmackDown.
he was just at SmackDown, and he stopped. Jalen Brunson stopped Halliburton from giving that ass Logan Paul brass knuckles, and he went and with a chair and was ready to clap his head in. A
How
lot of people
worried?
were saying a lot of people saying who knew we was getting to game 8 in the Pacers Knicks playoff.
How how worried?
The
How
City
worried you?
Island boy, the
How
City
worried
Island
were
shit.
you? How worried was you when Brunson started shaking his hand, grabbing that chair? Because the way what they were doing it is that Halliburton had brass knuckles in his hand, and Brunson had a chair, and then all of a sudden you see LA Knight kind of just grab the chair because he's going like this to his. I think it was his other hand, not his injured
Yeah.
hand, according to my wife.
But
But
I
he
saw the
started.
clips. I didn't watch it live because I really don't watch SmackDown live like that.
Uh,
But I
Hey,
did see the clips and I didn't notice
hey,
that. So next
I
time I
was
see the
watching
clips,
it. I was watching it, and I was concerned because I was like, "Can Brunson actually? Is it under contract? Can he actually hit him with that chair?" I was like, kind of scared.
I was I was wondering like what are the rules about this in the NBA? Because like we've seen NBA players jack themselves up on motorcycles. Jay Willis' career got cut short. You would think like wrestling is scripted, but it hurts. Like it really hurts. And
Right.
and the, and when he was grabbing the chair and he threw it into the ring to get into the ring, he hops into the ring and you just see him go like this. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
you see him
oh.
shaking his hand. Yeah,
And I'm like, oh, like,
I
and I
saw
was
that.
wondering. My wife was like, I think it's his other hand. I think it's because we were watching it live. That's our family viewing is pro wrestling. Judge away. But like, but it was like he was grabbing his hand. The whole thing was cool. Like I'm not gonna lie. I knew they were gonna be at the Garden. She expected all of the new Knicks to be there, like the whole the Nova Five. But when we saw Brunson, it's like okay, because they usually have a player there. And then when Halliburton came out, because we know he's friends with, he's a prime guy. He's under his under Logan Paul's label drink. He's one of the sponsors of his drink. Sorry. And so when they all started coming together and they're in the ring, like I said, it was cool. One guy's got brass knuckles, the other guy has a chair. For what it was, and it gave. But it also brings me another thing about this trade that I think is very, very important. Sports is still a business. Fans are still customers, and you guys got the fan service that you have lacked for over 30 effing years. James Dolan
This is
ran
what
his
I
team
want to
like
say.
Vince McMahon, and he gave you guys
This is
fan
what I,
service.
this is what I want to say about
I
Knicks
thought,
front office. Even in the glory
I thought,
years of the '90s Knicks, hold on, real quick, Lisper. We've never seen our front office move like this ever, ever.
Donnie Walsh.
To
Donnie
build,
Walsh.
to really, to Donnie Walsh ain't on this level right here. To build a team complete. Like there's a problem at every level with this squad. They're so deep that our starters would that the guys on our bench we're averaging as starters 20 points a night. DiVincenzo's coming off the bench. He was averaging 20 points a night as a
and
starter.
yet I still
Carter
don't
come off
feel
the
like we're
bench
complete.
now. This guy was grabbing 11, 12. He was a double-double if he wanted to every night. They're going to destroy teams' benches. Deuce
I'm a
McBride
believer.
is a problem.
TJ, they made especially a person like myself more a believer in success, and like we've been saying, Jamal, like on some like it's levels. We want to see this slowly progress up. We want to see this slowly progress upward, and that's what they made me like the believer in right now is just the levels. But I still feel like we're missing something. I
We
still
are
feel like
so
we're
Well,
missing
that
something.
was
Dan,
that.
we need help in the
Dan,
in the middle.
real quick,
Good.
because there's but I was just about to bring that up. The Knicks are still making moves to try to keep Hartenstein because he sounds like
You can't keep
he'll
Hardstein.
take the
Nah,
4
it's
years
going to be on.
72. But no, that I believe they're really pushing to try to keep it either get hard capped at the second apron to sign Hartenstein
If
If
because
but
they
if you're
said they needed about another 3 million to free up that.
they're going to need a gift from Hartenstein in order to keep Hartenstein.
yeah, I was about to say he has to leave money on the table, and
Yeah,
Hardenstein is not the type of guy that he's gonna get another free agency and see that type of money again. Bro, role players are getting paid in this league, and I don't mean
You're
that as
right.
a diss. I don't mean that as a diss, but because of that new TV deal, I mean
yep.
we're seeing guys. Yo, Emmanuel quickly.
So
Emmanuel quickly is getting paid more than Jalen
he
Brunson.
got the bag.
I
He got
mean,
the bag.
and
He
Mikal,
got the bag.
what's his face? I'm sorry, Nick Claxton. He's getting the money that was going to go to Hartenstein in Oklahoma City. He got
There's a million.
25 per year. Yeah, 25 per, which is a
Right.
bargain in this market.
Yeah.
And so Hartenstein at 20 is a bargain. And to ask him to take less, that's asking the man to leave
So
generational wealth on the table.
The only way that works is somebody else on that team got
this
to
is
take a
one
cut.
thing I was thinking about. This is what I was thinking about. They can sign him to like a 2-year with the player optional in a second year on a wink deal, like, oh, just opt out, and then we can sign you for the max at that point because they'll have his full bird rights. That's one way they can keep him.
But here's
But
the
they was
thing:
like, yo, there's too
forget
much
forget all
to
that.
be
It goes back
involved
to
that
it
they
goes
might be
back to
considered that tampering too.
it goes back to what Ed said before. Though it's the market. That's the market. That's the level that the market's at now. So fucking go get your money. Go get your money. Just like how the Lakers, they decided to just go get a whole heap of what the fuck. First thing first, they signed JJ Redick as their head coach because I met my man from Connecticut, Dan Hurley. Took a free vacation and then said thanks for no thanks, but thank you for bringing me to California to kick it for a little bit on your dime. And then the Lakers go get LeBron James Jr., aka Bronny, in the second round. To be honest with you,
Is that
I
his real
don't
name?
LeBron James
Bronny's
Jr.
his real.
No,
Oh,
it's
I
just
was
you
like,
know how
No,
like it's
you
Bronny
know how it
real
goes
name.
when look. Booger McFarland is not Booger McFarland's real name. Yet that
I
man
know that. I
prefers
know that,
that
Dan.
man
I know
prefers people to call him Booger if you don't know him.
Booker.
Don't call me by my real name if you don't know me, which I get, which I get. But I mean, Steph's first name ain't Steph, but we've been calling it.
No.
It's Wardell.
Wardell.
Imagine if we were America wouldn't prop that man up as the greatest shooter ever if we was calling him that black ass name of Wardell first. Steph Curry just has a better ring to it. Wardell Curry, Wardell reads
You can't
knuckle.
put Wardell on billboards, bro. You can't
Right.
put Wardell on billboards. It just
Wardell
don't look
reads
right.
knuckle.
It just,
But
just don't look
Bronny,
right.
but
It does.
Bronny, I mean, it works because but then I look at I look at it like this too. Like, when outsiders call you by your family name, like who gave you the fucking pass? Who gave you the invite into our humble
Dan,
abode to use that name?
So it's always been like this for me, right? So the people I work with or the people I went to high school, elementary, they know me as Thomas, right? So if somebody calls me Thomas, we're not that cool. But if somebody calls me TJ, that means they know me, right? They know me.
Oh,
I've met them.
dude.
I met you in person. We're cool. I might have slept on your couch once, but yeah, we there, and that
TJ,
gives you the right to call me.
you know how I relate to that? This ain't a topic, but this you know how I relate? The old school, like high school and beyond friends, still call me Big Man Dan. Everybody calls me the man now, but all my old schools call me Big Man Dan. There's two
And that's how
people
you
that I
know.
know, there's two people that I know that still call me Ace because of a DJ name. Only two people ever called me by my name. So it's like who's who. When the world is now, the world name, open it up to Bronny, whatever the case may be. Cool, that's what we calling him. I mean, it's the way to differentiate LeBron James Senior. I mean, well, the name doesn't differentiate Hall of Famer, greatest ever versus not even the best son. But the dude, congratulations to making it to the league.
I
Mhm.
Now the
mean, I
one,
guess.
and nah, fuck that. Oh, because you know what?
Nah, nah.
One of the things people was screaming about, and we'll start right here with this. One of the first things people was trying to bullshit and scream about was, oh, LeBron James nepotism, and Jamal. Most pro sports is built on fucking nepotism. If
I
you
hate it.
could get your family in, I mean, any union, let's keep it real, any union job just about that doesn't
All
require a test,
union jobs. All
Well,
union.
Jamal,
it don't
is
matter, man. Everything in these United States is built on nepotism. Corporate
Facts.
shit, anything. And I'm not mad at it. Who, as a father, is not going to try to give their son the best future they can if it's in their hands? Who's not going to do that? Just folks need to get over it. If the Lakers is cool with it, whatever.
Yo,
Who am I to judge it? That's his kid.
the rumor. The rumor was that Rich Paul called all the other teams and was like, "Yo, if you draft Bronny, he is going to spend the next couple of years in the NBL, and he's not coming to your team." You know what I'm saying?
I think
Like,
the
so
other,
like,
Same thing.
yeah,
Hold up. So how's that any
Nah.
different than the guy who walks on water? What's his name from the 90s? Oh, Michael Jordan. What about his agent and David Falk literally running the players union during the lockout? He had
Yeah.
he had three dummies installed running the union. Charles Barkley, Pat Ewing, and Michael Jordan, which they're great on the court, but is that the guy, those are union guys you want repping your new deal? Uh,
right, right.
Ed, how about this? It's like all four of y'all's quarterback and Eli Manning getting drafted by the damn Chargers. I ain't playing for you. All right, well we gonna have to move on. Come on, it's the same shit. That shit happens everywhere. Oh,
now,
Bo Jackson. Fuck you. I'm gonna go play baseball first then.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that shit
Yeah.
happens. So I got
they,
no problem with Rich Paul doing that.
David Falk. Again, this is something Drew Rosenhaus, David Falk, I forgot, Scott Boris. They do this in baseball
Yep.
all the time. Didn't you Knicks have a problem because Leon Rose was a competitor of Rich Paul, and it's just now recently that there's a truce?
they
Like
buried the hatchet 3 months ago. Yeah.
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 So this isn't unheard of an age of a sports agent flexing his muscle to get his client. That's his job. That's what he's paid to do. It happens that that
Fact.
guy is my little brony's agent. It just he's a different kind of G leaguer.
My little brownie. Yeah, but that's the
Yes.
But
thing.
if I
Like,
if if I was a Lakers fan, I would feel away because that second round pick was almost like a wasted pick. Because I mean the
Nah. Nah.
he's
who came out? We just said it before.
well, I mean
No,
it's this all right. So all right, so this
come
gonna be the
on.
type of draft that this is gonna be the type of draft that 5 years from now we're gonna look back to 2024 and say,
We're
okay,
not.
this guy was good,
We
this
are
one guy was
not.
good.
We are not. We're
Bronny
looking
was
back
not
and
Bronny
saying,
was not
God
even the
damn,
best
that
player
was
on
a
his team.
horrible draft.
Bronny was not the best player on
It,
that team.
Then he
We
had the
know
best
that.
last
You're
name.
missing.
That's all of it. It is what it is. He
You're
had the best last
missing the
name.
point. You're
He had the
missing the
best last
point.
name, fam. Yeah, it is what it is.
What person do you want bringing you into the league, showing you the ropes, telling you about the holes here, the stalkers there, all this shit behind the scenes that we don't
See,
see that an NBA player got to go through? Then
I
your
would
dad.
I
hold
would
on,
love
hold
to
on,
think
hold
I
on.
would love to think that LeBron's been doing that already.
See, and but see, I disagree there because, and maybe it's because I was an 18-year-old knucklehead who didn't know better. But I don't want to go to Portland with my dad as a roommate when I'm trying to clap cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just,
That's a
dad,
fact.
scoot over. Like, I don't want that to be my roommate. I'm like, yo, dad, I got these hoes up here. Can you like slide
I,
over or
Ed,
come back
Ed, I
later?
think he's
Like,
gonna
there's a
let him rock
sock
his
on the
own room,
door.
Ed. I think he's gonna let him rock his own room. He's
I
a
hope
grown man
no.
now.
You don't know. You don't know that LeBron is notoriously cheap. He might decide to get the discount hotel.
Nah,
Ronnie's now
so they getting a
stuck.
presidential suite with 2 bedrooms and shit.
Like, do you
One
want to
separate
work?
rest,
from the
We
other.
were
rest
just
in,
talking. We were just talking
rest
about
in
how
peace.
cool. Yeah, we were just
Rest in
talking
peace to
how
Kobe.
cool it is. We were just talking about how cool it is to work with your friends. How uncool. That's not cool, bro. To call Carlito from WWE working with your dad. Like,
So
this is the family business, and sometimes I
Right,
mean they
right,
make they
right,
make TV shows about family business going sideways, whether it's The Sopranos or Succession. Like,
right.
it,
Orange
it,
County
it
Choppers, man.
yeah, like, this is pawn shops, right? Like, that's what we're
So,
seeing here. And so I don't know if this is cool for my little brony. Like, I'm just like, yo, you don't know if he be smoking weed, and it's like, I'm not smoking weed with my dad. Like, come on,
bro,
like,
3 months into the season, he can be like, "Damn, I can't wait for that nigga to retire."
yo,
Yeah.
for real.
Because you're gonna be
Calling
in the
Bryce
bench
on
in his ass the whole time,
calling
bro.
Bryce. I'm like,
You're
man,
gonna
you
turn
so
Bron into.
lucky.
I'm sick of
Like,
this dude.
Yo,
Feel
when he
you.
comes
can't
to the
even.
team,
And again,
there's gonna be an X on his back. There's gonna be an X on his back
as
if
a
he makes
as
the
a
team and
parent,
I'm
comes off the bench.
Oh, I'm
There's
dunking
as
gonna
a
on
be a
him.
serious X
I'm
on his.
dunking on him. I see him in the lane. I am dunking
as
on
a,
him, just like my dad used to. Just like his dad
listen,
used to dunk on me. I am dunking on him.
as
Oh,
a parent, as a parent, I understand the want to be able to quote unquote play with your child. Oh, it's not like that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's I don't want.
Oh
I
God! Oh
understand.
my God!
You want to guide your child quote unquote into success and things like that. And let's really keep it honest. Like, LeBron James has been a model that shows totally different compared to the NBA that we came up on. And the debauchery that and shit like that that we've heard about in our days and past and shit like that. To where I think this one is a little different in listening to Dad. I think, of course, I think Dad is like Ed said, son, you want to go get your shit off? I'm sight unseen. Do your thing. You're grown now. You getting your own money now. Go ahead, do your thing. Peace out. But on that court, there ain't nobody in the league better than to listen to, with the exception of a small handful of these coaches that are left. There ain't nobody better to listen to than got my dad in my corner. And then for the Jordan versus LeBron people, right? This is another notch in LeBron's belt. 'Cause MJ's sons, too bad. There we go. StreamYard gave me the thumbs down bubble. Compared to, but I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to bring that up because within this Lakers dynamic now, LeBron's podcast partner is now his head coach. And a lot of people were having issues with this shit. A lot of people were having issues. Oh, how could this be? He got no experience, things like that, yada yada yada. I am sorry to anybody out there who wants to disagree. This is fine. I am taking somebody who actually played the game over most people who did not play the game, hands down. And I'm talking that in most avenues, from coaching to as low as sports commentary on television. I'm listening to the person who actually was on those courts playing those games, other than over the person who got paid to watch the games.
So why didn't Sam Cassell get an interview?
I don't know why he didn't get an interview. That's for the Lakers to answer.
That's because they already had their preferred candidate.
There you go.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they already tried out a black guy. Didn't work.
They tried a few. But here's the thing, here's the things that I was sitting on though, within all these conversations I could hear. And like one show that I listened to, like they were trying to, I can't say lead the charge, but add on to all the shenanigans now that are coming out about JJ Redick, which this happens all the time. And of course I get it. Basketball now, it kind of always has been, it's a black sport. If you want to pursue something as a black job, i.e. like the like the debate did,
Ah, yeah.
NBA basketball is a black job. They look at it like, how come a black coach didn't get a nod first or interviews first, yada yada yada. How many quote unquote black coaches, Jamal, I'll start.
Sorry. I'm watching the soccer game. England just tied it. Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Yep.
Jamal, I'll start with you. How many black coaches got first time jobs and never coached in the NBA? Because there's been way too many of them.
Well,
But
I
now
mean,
JJ Redick is the problem.
yeah, but it's weird. I don't know, man. They do pull basketball coaches out of everywhere. I'll give them that. Basketball coaches come from the announcing booth. They come from here. They come from just a bunch of different places. There's always going to be in every sport qualified black coaches who just don't get the look because that's the way it is in America right now. We're never the first choice. And then if we could segue to the NFL, they usually give black coaches the traps. Shitty team, got no prospects. They throw a black coach in there to ride it out. Then he gets tossed. He never gets to coach again. There's an abundance of qualified coaches. There's no reason why Sam Cassell hasn't gotten an interview. That's not so much on the Lakers, but on the league. Why hasn't he?
Right.
What's the league doing to make sure that these folks get interviews and stuff like that? But the Lakers, I don't know how much of it's true. I mean, that was their preferred candidate. That was LeBron's guy. They got the podcast together. So JJ Redick talked himself into a job, and he convinced the dude who's actually really doing the hiring to give him a shot. And and he got a shot, and it is what it is. But I mean,
It's nepotism.
yeah,
Nepotism
it
yet
is.
again.
It is what it is. I mean, but that's up to the league to look into that and say, why aren't these guys getting a shot? You got Chauncey. Is Chauncey coaching? Or is he done? Is he in Portland?
I think he's a front office. I think he's like the assistant
Okay.
GM.
Gotcha.
No, he's coach still.
He's coaching in
Oh.
Portland, right? The Blazers, right?
Yeah, the Blazers.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I mean,
I will say that the issue isn't as bad or prevalent in the NBA as it is in the NFL.
it is not.
You see a lot more black coaches a lot more commonly than you do in the NFL, where there's still a good old boys network. And so I understand the whys is being brought up, but at the same time, it's like I remember, and I don't mean to make it all about the Nets, but I remember when KD came on board, they got rid of a really good coach for Steve Nash, and at least with JJ Redick, we have an idea of how his mind works based on. It was a brilliant podcast. That is more the type of podcasting in sports that I want to see than the
They
Stephen A.
explain the
junk.
X's and O's very
Yeah.
well. They explain the
It's for
X's
an
and O's
idiot like
very
me.
well.
For an idiot like me, that was a great podcast. And so at least we have a mind, a sample set of the mind into his thinking of things. Now, will it work or not? It's a different dynamic when you're dealing with now. That's no longer your homeboy you're podcasting with. That's now your boss. Technically, that's middle management now.
Now you got to motivate men. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the other thing that was fascinating was the Dan Hurley aspect. His wife did that job. Like, she was like, we're happy here in Connecticut. We're the king of Connecticut. Nobody's bothering us. You got Gino Ariema money. why do you want to bring those problems? Why do you want to move the family to LA? Um, and I personally would have leveraged that into more money out of UConn, but he didn't. Like that's just how Hurley is. I'm an a-hole like that. Like Hurley was I think everyone wants to feel wanted at their job. I think he liked like Dan said earlier, a free trip to LA, got dinner, got to see some old friends. But then it was like, you know what? This isn't for me. And that job, I think more than anything, it's not so much who they hired, but how long it took. That's the part of the process where I'm like, all the
Right.
good coaches are gone.
And they were ready to drop the super strong 30-gallon hefty bag on Dan Hurley too to get him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
again, like coaching wise, and like you said, writing the podcast, I didn't watch it, I didn't listen to it because my podcast, and I like to stick to the people that are on our level. I like to support people that are on our level over fame, depending on the thing. Which I'm shout out to the Young Turks. I'm getting a lot of my current news from them because it's non-biased. That's how I like it. But it's X's and O's that they were talking.
yeah.
And they're giving you, like Ed said, they're giving you the sample size of X's and O's. Everybody who paid attention to LeBron's career understands he is a big X's and O's guy. It's not
Come on,
just about
LeBron.
the heart. Yeah, about LeBron. Excuse me if I didn't say that correct. But it's not about the passion, killer instinct, this and that. The fucking intangibles that don't mean shit other than barbershop talk. It's about the X's and O's, the execution of plays and this and that and the third that LeBron has been a master of making the right play, understanding the right play. And so I think these two together in concert, which the Lakers should just do a Bill Russell and make him a playing coach. Let's just get it out the fucking way. Make him a playing coach just to certify. And I think that they will work. That's a squad, though, that's missing, in my opinion, hella pieces to truly get them back to where get them back to Brian, who was in the comments a little while ago. Shouts out and congrats to your Celtics, by the way. That's as much as you're getting from us on that front. Get them to that point, there's still a lot of pieces of missing away. The Lakers are. But I think for a foundational thing and a start, I think that this could be a good thing. On what I have the biggest problem with now, TJ, and this is what happens in like most media, especially when quote unquote a white person is perceived to get something over a black person. Which again, if you feel that way, I can't take nothing away from what you feel and how you feel. It doesn't move me the same way it might move others. But now all of a sudden, JJ Redick is a racist. He wasn't none of this when ESPN hired him. He wasn't none of this when he was doing a podcast with LeBron. He just happened to get the coaching job of one of the dynasty teams of the NBA. And now JJ Redick said nigga when he was in college. Excuse me? And I'm not taking this like this is just okay, because it's not and it never is. But when you are a top-notch athlete in the Duke University, I'm going to look at you like you've done called many people a hard ER before. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look at you in that manner, like you might have said this shit before. But my issue, TJ, again, it to really realistically within this is it's that this is one of those why now moments. This truly is one of those
It,
why now.
it's always a why now moment, but I've been seeing other people say same things about people in power, coaches or what executives on a lower level, and they've expressed these transgressions against them, be sexual harassment or invalid commentary, whatever, and it kind of sweep it under the rug. Now he's in a position where he's fully recognized. Yes, he was on ESPN. Yes, um, he's the coach of the Lakers now. Why this hasn't come up? It hasn't come up because he is now a face, like you said, of a legacy dynasty franchise. That's why it's come up. When you take a high profile job like that, all eyes are always going to be on you because you got the job the very 1% get. The very 1% get. Whether you sucked at it or not, that's on your resume. I coached the Lakers. Give me my money. You understand that? Whether they won 10 games or they won 80 games, 60 games, it doesn't matter. You have a privilege that is above and beyond whoever else is working.
You
So
know,
that's why all the dirt is coming out, bro. It's like being
you
a
know,
presidential candidate. The dirt is going to come out.
TJ. That goes back to the question I had asked in a group. Would you is this a job you would actually want to get, knowing that you only have a like a 2 year window to make it to the final, all the way to the finals?
Not
You know,
oh,
it's
not if I'm a private person and I don't want my family on blast, because you're gonna start going to these schools where all this money is going to schools at. These kids know what's going on. Oh, your dad's the coach of the Lakers. Oh, your dad owns this. Oh, your dad does that. You know what I'm saying? That's just you don't want to put that stress on your kids if they haven't dealt with that stress before.
yeah,
I don't
Like
think.
the Bobby Hurley
Yeah,
situation, it everybody's comfortable. The kids are good. The wife is good. He don't never have to pay for another meal in his entire state of Connecticut in his life. He can go to bodega for breakfast, some other place for lunch and dinner, and it'll all be comped because he's fucking Bobby Hurley. So
I just think
why
fan.
throw all of that in the garbage and
Yeah,
then to go
yeah.
move to LA? But go
for
ahead,
for
JG.
for
Go ahead,
no
Jamal.
for TJ for JJ. I think he just wanted to coach. He wanted the coaching. He wanted to be a pro coach. So why not take it with the Lakers? I don't think he's looking at this as his forever job.
Right,
I think he's just looking. Okay, this is an opportunity. I
right.
want to be a pro
Okay.
coach. I just went from the ESPN desk to this, and he just hopped on the opportunity. You know what I mean? He's not going to turn it down. So
Hmm. Well, I
I
that's.
mean,
think
here's this, right? LeBron vouched for him, right?
Hmm.
So that's what got him the job. LeBron vouched for him. So these players, whoever they bring into this team, are going to listen to him on off the rip because this is LeBron's guy. So if LeBron respects him, we're going to respect him too until he shows us otherwise, I guess. But then, how many chances does he get? Because this is LeBron's guy. He don't get the
Yeah.
job if LeBron's not on the Lakers. Go
what
ahead, Ed.
what I was gonna say from from the alleged victim's perspective. I'll speak from that side first. One thing. No, I think we've all experienced racism on some level, right? And
Yes,
I
yes,
think
we.
that's fair to say, right? And I think sometimes we try to report it or we just eat the L and keep it moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think in this case, like you said, the Laker job is a high profile job. We already had a high profile job, but now it's added multiplied by 10, right? And so you see the name JJ Redick trending, it might trigger something in you to comment online. You know what I mean? Maybe she did report it. We don't know. Why now? Because he got hired now and his name is trending and it's all over the newspaper. And when you have to eat that L, sometimes you're gonna be like, you know what? Fuck that guy. Like you just want to vent that. I think some of that may be in play. And I say alleged because I don't know the story. I don't I can't say one way or the other. It's the first time I'm hearing of it. It's the first time you're hearing it of JJ. He probably could have said it. I don't dispute that. I don't doubt that. But it's I don't know. Therefore, to me, it's alleged victim in that sense. And but
Well,
again, and especially you're gonna report something on a Duke player. Do we not recall what happened with the lacrosse team and what? Even though that was a false accusation,
Yes,
like
She
yes.
you
lied. She
still,
lied.
it's you still don't like. Do you want to bring that smoke? Like you know what I mean? And so I think that's the part people sometimes in looking at just the sport angle of it are like, well, why now? Oh,
and
because I need. And she felt some type of way. She put it on Twitter, and it probably blew up bigger than she expected.
But
I
and
think I
I
think
don't
There's
think
an there's an
I don't
aspect
think
of that.
I don't think though that this would have came out if JJ Redick was being announced as the new head coach of the Atlanta
The,
Hawks. I don't
the
Absolutely.
think
There's
this.
Washington
I don't
Wizards.
think this would have came out. Yeah, if he was the new head coach of the Washington. Oh, good, cool. He's near North Carolina where he used to play college basketball again. It's a fresh start with a young team. He can get his feet wet as a coach. Yada yada yada. The narrative would be totally different.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Look at Steve Nash. Like I'm sure Steve Nash said a couple of things, but when you're the Brooklyn, is it different? Certain teams are just going to bring that attention. The Lakers, the Yankees, Duke. 'Cause since you were mentioning Duke, I'm trying to think in football, Dallas Cowboys. It's just going to
Yeah,
bring that type of scrutiny, whether you like it or not. And JJ chose this upon himself. I'm sure he put thought into this. What dirt may come out. Look, this is a man who we found out was making women sign NDAs and telling his paramours that, listen, if I seed you up by accident, you're going to the hospital right away, or you're taking this plan B right away. So it's not far fetched. He said it. If that's how he kind of treats women, like he's a cover your ass kind of guy, from what
Which,
we know publicly. So
which Ed is the thing that like when you look at quote unquote high profile athletes, this shit happens all the time. And this it's let's not kid ourselves. This shit happens all the time. The thing that's getting to me is again his alleged use of the N word. Like I said, he went to Duke University, high profile white athlete, and was a great in a quote unquote black sport. I'm sure he did say that shit. I'm sure he did. Now it's just it said
What happened?
that he used it said that he used it in malicious intent, but we weren't for that.
It's leaking.
His did his teammates and shit like that give him that pass? The pass that you ain't supposed to use outside of your circles, and then now they're talking about it. Then that speaks to again, it speaks to him even using it if he used it, and then it speaks to the circle for allowing it to happen. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, okay, 15, 20 plus years later. And again, I view this differently from a case of, say, a woman telling their story about certain transgressions that happened to them. To me, there's no, statute of limitations on assault on a woman, because there's no telling when and to be honest with you, I guess I shouldn't feel the same way because it was a woman who came out and said that he said this to her, a former black girlfriend of his. So I guess I kind of got to fall back from that a little bit. Then again, like some people were trying to say too, this is a shot at the bag that he just got. That could kind of be perceived also. I don't want to throw those cards like that's what I'm believing as. No, this is just a discussion around
sure,
the
no,
why
absolutely,
now. You know what I'm
but
saying? No, but
absolutely,
I'm framing that so nobody thinks that that's what I feel like.
I,
No, it's the discussion of the why now because it's
I,
always intriguing. Why now?
I'll add to that. I mean, we just saw another example when your name is trending, things start coming out. Look at Jonathan Majors just lost the bag from Disney. Yo, they had a whole 10-year plan for that man for Kang up in smoke. And in his case, it looks like he did it in some capacity. You know what I mean? And so the why now, sometimes it could be something as triggering as the hot job that you got is your name's all over the place. And sometimes
Yeah.
as a victim, you're gonna be like, nah, man, this I gotta
But
say something.
I'm gonna
I
get back
look,
to you. I'm gonna get back to you. But you mentioned the Jonathan Majors situation. Though I view differently because I at all the tape and shit that came out about him and all that, like it looked to me like he was defending himself. It looked to me like he was protecting himself. But then again, of course, America, America. Do you need I say more? Go ahead, oh.
I mean, no, I was just saying, I wanted to ask the question that you guys, do you think the reason why this story hasn't really grew any legs is because of what happened those couple of years ago with the whole Duke Cross team, and then finding out that it was false? Like you that was my question, But you guys pretty much answered it.
I think it's just no paper trail. It's just one person. Like I said, we've all eaten some sort of racism on some level where we just, you know what? I don't need this headache today. I'm gonna keep it moving, right? Like it's just I think that was just one of those things where she was reminded of, oh, I remember that one time. You know what I mean? Like I my experience, I've had it happen with elected officials where someone I know is on a list, on a city and state list, and I'm like, oh, that a-hole, or you know what I mean? Or like someone wins an election, and I'm like, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so she decided to put her Twitter fingers into play, and the people reporting it are one, don't have contracts with the NBA, like say ESPN. They're not going to report on. ESPN has a deal. We've seen ESPN protect the NFL and UFC in the past. They're probably going to give the same courtesy to the NBA. And there's no paper trail. There's no complaint at the collegiate level. There's no complaint at a legal level. There's just and so that makes it, as a former reporter, that makes it a little bit harder to cover. And that's why I said alleged victim. Legally, that's how I have to frame it because there's no evidence. She is a victim, but me, I don't know the facts of the deal, or I don't know, I don't have the evidence. Therefore, I have to go with alleged victim in this case.
Right, right.
Yeah, if you weren't there, you don't know what happened, and that's just what it is. Is what he said
It
versus what
sucks,
she
but
said, right? And it does suck. That's not going to change the fact that he's going to be the head coach of the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to just turn around and be like, nope, we can't. We got to let you go now. That's not going to change anything because the
No,
money's behind him now. The machine is
but
behind him now.
see, but it would have to take a Clipper size effort for a change to happen. If you get what
For
I'm saying,
yes, in his
because
in
because
his case, yes.
yeah, because VP had all the tapes, all the messages, all the video. She
I
she
will.
had the backup, all of it, and proved it like that way.
I will push back on one thing that you said earlier about that you prefer a jock over someone who just watched. I don't think that's necessarily true sometimes with coaching or even with journalism. I'm being a little bit biased in the way in that I mean that I've had that experience with Steve Nash and I thought it was a good idea. But looking back, I'd rather have Atkinson in return be in that role who didn't play basketball. Like, here's my thing. Would you rather have Van Gundy or Steve Nash? A Van Gundy brother or Steve Nash? Van Gundy's never played ball, but Steve Nash is. I think that goes on a case by case level.
Bad choice of names because the Van Gundys did play basketball, at least in college, because my uncle played with them.
Fair, fair. But you get what I'm saying though. It's like
No,
sometimes
but at least my point is at some level you've touched the game.
right.
Now what was his name from the Pistons, legendary Pistons coach?
Chuck Daly.
Chuck Daly
Chuck
is a
Daly.
guy who never played the game. I don't think at any level. There's outliers, and there's always outliers to the situation because let's believe most of these coaches actually have touched the game once before. What's his name? Eric Spoelstra. See, this is what killed me. Like JJ Redick spent 15 plus years in the league. Eric Spoelstra was the tape guy and got promoted to head coach. He was just running and editing tape and got promoted to a head coaching job. So
He did it
this
well. He did
just
it
talk
That's
well.
a
right,
cool story, actually. That's a
but
really
but
cool
Yeah.
story how that came about.
true indeed. But just to fight back on just the coaching aspect
Hmm.
alone, nothing else surrounding, and trying to stress, oh, JJ Redick never had a coaching job in a day in his life, never did. What the man has expressed to us, to the world via podcasting, that he knows X's and O's probably better than most. But this guy got a head coaching job, is an NBA championship coach who got his job editing tapes. from editing tapes. So you want to talk about no experience? Now, yes, you're gaining knowledge by having to watch the tape to edit to know, but also too, the coaches are telling you, I need this point, this point, this point, this point, and this point. Go get it for me. It's like you are a team producer. You're a backstage
Those
producer.
tapes, those tapes be showing you, and you be like, "Yo, this is why you got cooked every time down court,"
Right,
and that,
right.
and that's what it is there for. He's like, "Listen, every time this guy goes left, you drop back or whatever. Change your footing, change your stance or whatever." And it's that
No, but
little tweak.
right,
It's that little tweak.
but
That's
his role
coaching,
is
bro.
no, but his role as the tape guy was not the I'm reviewing this to give you the points in the view. No, he was the go get
Yes,
the tape and edit the bitch and pass it to the team. He
right.
became the head coach. Like, what's up? If we want to really go in on about somebody not having experience, yet they got a shot, still doing the damn job with the thing. Eric Spoelstra is your model of, hey,
But
He's the
nah,
maybe
tape guy.
I could be at home
He's
getting this
one of the
fucking
best.
role too.
but
So
nah,
He's one of the best.
but nah.
He's one of the
Oh, go
best
ahead, oh.
in-game coaches. He's one of the best in-game coaches in
Well,
the
that's
league,
that's what
He's
hands
one of the
watching
down.
all
best
He's
that
one of
tape
the
would do.
coaches.
best.
He's one of the best coaches in the league. You know, but he didn't get the position from straight from video guy. He was a video guy, then assistant coach, then
Nah, I don't remember him being an assistant anywhere. I thought he got it from
yeah.
being the tape guy. But
And
that's
and
my
and
bad.
so
and, and
If I'm wrong, tell me. I mean,
Hold
y'all
on,
can
hold
tell
on.
me.
Ed knows the story. Ed knows the story.
so hold on, I'm gonna look up whether he was assistant. But from what I understand is that Pat Riley and the coach, I forgot who was at the time, would ask for tape. He would leave notes
Van Gundy.
saying, yeah, Van Gundy, Stan Van Gundy, right? But he would leave notes
Yeah,
telling Pat Riley, you should maybe think about this. Like he would leave stickets with recommendations. He thought that nobody was paying attention, so he stopped doing it. And then one day, Pat Riley pulled him aside. It's like, why'd you stop doing that? It's like those were very helpful. And so he took the initiative of like by taking the initiative of putting opinions, you know, of maybe you should do this, maybe you should go left, maybe you should go right, or he add extra footage of stuff like, hey, I noticed this, by the way, and give him and putting, somewhat. He was blessed that somebody was paying attention. I think he was an assistant for a little while and then got fired. Van Gundy got let go, and he got moved up. But he's always been within the Miami system. We might have had like
yes,
an assistant, like on the lower end of the bench, right?
Right.
Because he's the film guy. Again, no one's gonna respect him, but he had Van Gundy's ear, he had Pat Riley's ear, and that he had this is a sign of good corporate ownership or good corporate someone who's paying attention, who knows what they're doing.
Right.
Because he was like, why'd you stop doing that? Other people were like, why are you putting that stick there? What do you know, right? Like that's
But
the ego of being a corporate
and
guy.
also though, let's keep it real. We saw that move at the time as here
Oh, we
goes Pat
laughed.
Riley, and here goes Pat Riley again. Because if this guy fucks up, Pat Riley's gonna come swoop in once
I was about
again.
to say that. I was trying to
Go ahead,
interject and say that Miami job. Remember, it was a very short rope. Like once you was fucking up, Pat Riley would come in, would swoop right in, and take over. That he did it with Van Gundy. You know,
And
so
but that's the advantage of being the tape guy. It's like you get one shot. It's like the Eminem song. You get one shot, right? Like, and he knew that if this didn't work out, he may never, ever, 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 ever coach again. So,
he
credit
was
to
an
him.
assistant
Look,
in 2018. He was assistant in 2018.
so and like, this is a
2022.
guy. This is a guy who took his job so seriously that when the big three were over there, LeBron asked that he be fired. If I remember, if the rumor's correct, LeBron asked that supposed to be fired. This isn't working out, and Pat Riley was like, "Tough, make it work." That you know what I mean? Like, and so that's the kind of respect that Riley had for his stickies. Like, that's the ironic. Yellow stickies is what made his career.
but
Um,
you know what, Ed? Like it. Okay, you saying that, right? And me watching the whole Celtics and Lakers documentary on 30 for 30 yesterday. Pat Riley, we should have, us as Nick fans, us as Nick being Nick fans and everything, he should have had a longer rope. I don't know if it was James Dolan or Jim Dolan at the time.
no, it was James. but here's what happened. Here's what happened with that. He wanted he wanted ownership of the team. He got a stake in the Miami Heat. You guys weren't going to match that offer. That's just not. It wasn't
Never,
possible.
never,
Dolan
never,
would
never.
never ever ever concede to that. The Miami were new. They were on the they were an expansion team. They were on the cusp with Alonzo Mourning. They'd come just close enough, and they figured that they would take their rival's best asset at the time, other than Pat Ewing, which was Pat Riley, and make him an offer that you can't refuse. If I remember correctly, that man faxed his resignation. Fax machine
Yeah,
is this machine for you old younger folk
Yes,
that may not
yes,
know. Yeah,
yes. He faxed
yeah.
it.
These younger folk might not know what it was. Literally like,
The first
you know,
that
you
was
put the
the
paper
first that was
in.
the
And
I
first
still have a
email.
fax
The first
machine.
email.
I'm jealous that you have a fax machine. I would love to have a fax machine just because. But like he faxed in his resignation from a beach in Miami for a role, right? Like, and so that's why it didn't work out. Same thing with Jason Kidd and the Nets. He wanted to be the GM and the coach, and the Nets told him to kick rocks, and then he ends up with the Bucks. There's certain teams that you're not going to get that type of stroke. The New York Knicks, you're never going to get that kind of stroke from James Dolan. He's a control freak. I mean,
And we've
he
been
Listen,
we've been
has.
suffering ever since, boy.
listen. I've been reading The Blood in the Garden, right? So, which is a great book. So when Pat Riley got signed, he asked for them to take care of his dry cleaning, pay for his house. He wanted a book deal, and because Paramount was with Cablevision at the time, he wanted a movie deal as well. The Knicks gave him everything except it was like you can do your fucking own laundry, bro. You can do your own dry cleaning. That's where that's the level it took to sign Pat Riley, bro. Pat Riley stamped his legacy with 4 championships with the Lakers.
Yeah.
You're good anywhere. Anywhere you sign Pat Riley, you're good. And to say, God rest his soul, Jerry West, in terms of drafting and personnel and understanding, Pat Riley's right there.
Mhm,
Jerry West was the
But
best at that.
yo,
Pat Riley is right there.
mhm.
TJ, I'm glad you brought up Jerry West because I brought up in the group chat that you know Jeannie Buss was a bitch for this for stopping his season ticket passes because of how he
He
felt
didn't want to coach the
about
team
was that.
because he didn't want to coach the team. Because I
No,
remember
no, no,
that.
no, no. Because he voiced his opinion on Jeannie Buss dating Phil Jackson at the time, and so right after
Oh,
that came out, she had like cut off his season tickets and all that. He wasn't allowed in the building no more. All that
she
he
was
was
being petty.
excommunicated. It was
She was being petty,
excommunicado.
dogs. She was
And
being petty.
I'm like, yo, that's some James Dolan shit right there.
And
I was,
so
I
he
was,
left. And so he left and said, "I'll show you." And went and started from the bottom, and then built the Warriors.
Yep, and
Yeah,
it's
Burke
like,
Warriors. Yeah,
because he started it. He started at the Memphis Grizzlies, and it made them into
Yeah.
a crazy playoff team. Then
mm-hmm.
he
he
went
got
to
him
the
so
Warriors.
many draft picks. Yep,
Oh my God, it was ridiculous. That's how they got John Morant.
yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
And then
Basically,
decide to take a bit even bigger job and better job in with the Warriors, who were like they were like knee deep in analytics and like we need a basketball guy that can make sense of these
right,
analytics. And now you have this
right.
dynasty. He helped recruit KD. Like people act like like
Mm.
these aren't little moves that he did for the Warriors. And you know what I mean? And
Nah,
so, but
major
it's
chess move.
to O's to something I've been saying actually. Thank you for bringing that up. Like Jeannie Buss is no different than James Dolan. She pretty much inherited a team. There was a hostile takeover, just like James Dolan.
Right.
She's making a lot of the bad moves. Like how Rob Pelinka has a job there, fake Rob Lowe. I have no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
Braun, people blame Braun for running the team. I blame Rob Pelinka. It's his fault. He
Mm-hmm.
allows this to happen. Yo,
Rest
we
in
just
peace
talked
to
about.
Kobe, because that's why he's.
Yep,
Yeah.
we just talked about Spoelstra, like LeBron James trying to get Spoelstra fired, and Pat Riley had the gravitas to be like, no. Maybe that's why he left back to Cleveland because he's like, well, I can't build the
That's
team in my
exactly
vision.
why he left.
And
That's
so
exactly why he left. Because he didn't have control of the team.
And that's just the millennial attitude in the league of like it's my team, therefore I call it. We saw it with KD in Brooklyn. We're seeing it kind of in other places as well. But it's like this is a players' league, and so that's on Genie and Rob Pelinka giving him this clout. If you know what I mean, we don't know the inner workings. We as outsiders, it looks that way to us that Braun is running. We truly
Just to
don't know.
shoot, just to shoot at the Jordan stands again, though. Michael Jordan did the same thing also.
Absolutely.
If you don't get Dennis Rodman, we ain't, if you don't get Dennis Rodman,
We're not
it
talking about
would
back to back.
we wouldn't be talking about MJ and six rings
Hmm.
if he didn't pull those types of strings. If he didn't make shit happen the way he needed it to happen. Which
Every
again, it would behoove you in a way to not listen to your star athlete. So that's the trick in all of this. Like you should listen to your star athlete, especially when they are of the caliber of a Michael Jordan, a LeBron James. Like you need to listen to them. Should they be the major influence? You still got to remember you're a grown ass adult and you're the coach. You're the GM. You run these teams. It's still your way of the highway, technically. But you always, and I'm sorry, you always go to your top athlete. And what do you think? What should we do here and there? Again, there's going to be points where it works and it doesn't work. It just looks like with a LeBron James, it looks like it didn't work as much because of the amount of championships he lost. Yet, we should be giving him props for how many people outside of Jerry West can say they went to 9 straight finals and still walked
And
away
Jerry
with
West lost only won one chip, and he
only
lost
won
like
one.
6 times.
Yeah.
Right, and only won one. Where you got the difference with the Bill Russell and them because the league's smaller than. That's the only protection I'll put in there. Not the playing against fucking police officers and bus drivers and shit. No, no. You played against the best of your era. But when the league is smaller, there's just less competition. So where yes, it looks easier for the Lakers and the Celtics will always be in the finals. How many finals did Will go to? And he only got 3. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it just goes back to me going back to people give LeBron shit for sometimes. I mean, sometimes it feels justified, but in reality, he's sitting on the couch while they're there. How much does it really mean from us? You know what I'm saying? How much does it really mean from us? But mentioning we was talking off of Jerry West and things like we gotta say rest in peace for the same kid Willie Mays. And just the other day, Orlando Cepeda. I mean,
Yeah.
the Giants, the former Giants players are just, I mean, this is one of them things. It happens with age. Unfortunately, we got to say goodbye to people. But we're talking about 2 legends right here.
Listen, Willie Mays. To hear people talk about Willie Mays when he played, from other players he played against, is ridiculous. He was always the best player on the field. No matter who he played for, when he played, or where he played at. He was the best player on the field. He was that good. Speed, could hit, had a rocket for an arm, patrolled. These center fields is light compared to what the ground Willie Mays had to cover. He was covering 40 yards in each direction. 40 yards on a baseball diamond is a fucking cavernous. Pitchers will love pitching to that shit all day. A long fly ball is not leaving the park. You just hope your man can chase it down. You understand what I'm saying? It's giving up a grand slam to maybe 2 runs. This man was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
When you got
Barry
teams
Bonds
that
was
bring
Godfather, which is crazy.
It's when we never talked about a 5'2" player before. We never brought up that terminology before Willie Mays.
You're right. You're
and I don't
right.
know. None of us are here old enough to have seen the Polo Grounds. You only see it if you played MLB The Show. You've seen it. and the dimensions of MLB the show on the polo grounds, for him to be able to cover that at center field is ridiculous. Because like you said,
Also turn around and hit it out the park. Oh, he would
and
turn around and
right.
especially
blast
That's what
that
I'm
shit
saying.
out the park.
Yo,
and especially it's
dead center in polo grounds. You talking like 400, 480, 500, 500 yards. Like
and
yo,
I wanted
500
to
feet.
add on. I wanted to add on just field dimensions. When you have within say the last 30 plus years, where teams are bringing in fences because they want more, because they got home run power hitters on their team. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're bringing in the fences closer to produce more. While this era of baseball, that era of baseball, like you said, 500 was an average for a lot of these parks.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
Mm-hmm.
these
will.
dudes were knocking him out the park. Go ahead, Ed.
You guys are talking about the polo grounds. What about Candlestick? The old Candlestick Park was right by like the ocean. It's windy. You don't know where that ball's gonna go, and he's playing
Yeah.
Manning center field. I don't know if it's as cavernous as a polo ground, but the old Candlestick was pretty large, and he's out there just making it look so easy, like it's nothing.
Yes.
The stories about Candlestick itself are also legendary. Like O said, he's the definition of 5-2 player. I will always remember him as a New York Met where careers come to die because that was his last stop. So I dead ass want a throwback Willie Mays Mets jersey. I'm so sincere about that. Like,
And let's not forget, man. Let's not forget he's one of the last guys that had that connection to the Negro Leagues. Like
mhm.
he batted against Satchel Paige, and all that. So that's also
Connection,
something to talk about.
connection to the league, Negro League, connection to you by way of he went and served 2 years in the military, like most had to do in that time,
Yep.
and still came back and was still like the greatest player. I'm just saying that 2 years off, he would have had numbers that would have been unreachable
It was
across
during
the
his
board.
prime. It was during his prime, yeah.
It's crazy because like we'll never see that. You know what I'm saying? We're like, that's a once. It's not even a generational because has really eclipsed this man's numbers from his position of what he's done. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be mentioned in the name of Willie Mays is an honor in itself that you came close. But that just tells you how phenomenal an athlete he was. It's
Would you
just
say
there's no
Ken Griffey
words
Jr.?
for it. You had to be there to see it. What?
Would you say Ken Griffey Jr. probably close?
Nah, Bonds.
If Ken Griffey Jr.
Those are the two, Bonds and
Bonds would have
Griffey.
been closer. Yeah, Griffey. We don't know what Griffey would have been because the injuries hobbled him, and it was a shame. It was a shame
I,
because he could have been one. He could have been the ultimate goal.
I
But
don't
like you
know.
I
I
said,
don't know. I don't know if you
Bonds
guys
was untouchable.
I don't know if you guys how often you guys are on the Facebook groups. I'm on Vintage Baseball. Anywhere you bring up Bonds, Rodriguez, any of those steroids league players, steroids era players, they crucify you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, dude, you sat and watched. It was must see. It was
yeah,
must see TV during the steroids era. So don't. So let's not try to crucify Bronze and for the numbers that he put up. You
I
know what I'm saying?
listen. Bonds was a Hall of Famer. My assumption, and it's an assumption, my assumption is that Bonds started doing roids when he went to San Francisco because Balco's based out of there. That's when his head got bigger. That's when he got
Yeah,
bigger. But
yeah,
I
He was a
remember
Hall of
when
Famer coming out of Pittsburgh.
that's what I was about to say. I
That's
remember
what
yeah,
I was gonna
yeah.
say.
He
I
had Hall of
remember
Fame numbers already.
Yeah.
I remember when the New York Mets got Bobby Bonilla, and I was like, we got the wrong Killer B. I was happy to get Bobby Bonilla. Don't get me wrong. But in my head, I was like, we got the wrong Killer B from Pittsburgh. Like that
Bobby
Pittsburgh.
Bobby Bonilla Day is coming soon. I think it's next week.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Bobby Bonilla Day is next week. But
Greatest
but
general.
nah, I think he did it. I think he did it because, and I believe it was noted, he was jealous at the time
Yeah.
because it was like, yo, Mark McGuire, like he hit him with like niggas,
That guy?
Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, like
Canseco?
these two. No, not even, don't even throw Jose. I'm a bounce the ball, ball bounce off my Conseco. Though I love the Bass Brothers back in the day. Like I was watching Oakland for a minute because of them, more because of Ricky Henderson. My one of my favorite play. Well, no, my favorite player of all time. My goat is Barry Bonds. But he's watching them go off, and it's like, nah, son. And come on, and he knows he's better than that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's like you were saying, oh, when you talk steroid era, it always triggers me because why? You were the best in your era during the playing conditions of that time. That's it.
And
That's
and
it.
and Dan, I mean, I always like to talk about elephant in the room, right? Steroids did not make you a better hitter. Steroids did
Thank
not make you a better
you.
pitcher.
How many years have I been saying that?
You
How
know,
many?
But they never
Roger
found
Clemens did
Barry
not.
Bonds guilty of anything, though. They never
That
found Barry
too.
Bonds guilty of anything.
Yeah.
That too.
I
He never.
I will
Roids,
say
all roids do. Roids adds more oxygen to your blood, which makes you withstand longer. It makes
that's what
you
I
go
was
longer. Go ahead, Ed.
that's what I was gonna say. Like in 162 games, season, let's not pretend that it doesn't help. It turns an average player into what's that guy, Brady Anderson, who was
Brady
hitting
Anderson.
50 home
Yes,
runs.
yeah.
It
Brady.
turns
Everybody
and
knows
it
Brady
turns
Anderson. Yeah.
it turns an all-star into a Hall of Famer, and it turns a Hall of Famer into a god, as we saw with Barry Bonds. I think
It,
the closest modern day example, sorry, really quick, the closest modern
yeah,
day example we can see that I know of in sports is John Jones in UFC. John Jones is absolutely the GOAT probably of all time. He's been busted with PEDs in his system. I think John Jones would still be that GOAT without it. But again, he was also of that era where TRTs were being allowed. Like there was some sort of they were allowing some usage of it. When he got into the cage with Chael Sonnen was juiced up to the gills. He said so himself. Like
He
he's an
said it.
and failed
I
that
saw the
drug
video.
test.
I
Yeah,
saw the
and
video. Yeah.
so the closest thing is I think John Jones, where John Jones is now fighting at heavyweight, and no one can deny that man's status, just like Barry Bonds. But you can't also pretend either that it doesn't help in the training, in more
dude,
oxygen, more red blood cells. To Dan's point.
Yeah, yeah.
dude. Here's the problem. Here's the problem when it comes to the whole drug talk thing. Right? Out of the let's keep it real. With out of maybe the 10 athletes that we'll talk about that were all time greats, right? Especially within the sport of baseball, thousands. And I mean thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of players have taken something, and they still haven't amounted to shit. PJ, I don't know if I'm gonna lead you into, but you played high school baseball. I couldn't make my team for
Played
some
college
reason, but
baseball
you
too. I
played high
played.
school baseball. But
Yeah,
especially at the high school levels, that's where this shit starts. So
yeah.
most of these
Well, it
cats
wasn't
in these leagues have freaking took some shit.
Hmm.
And then you
real
going to
quick.
act like a
Real
Boy
quick.
Scout?
Real quick. When I was at my peak at working out, I took creatine. Right. Creatine took my bench from 300 to 330 pounds. I solemnly believe that. I've never pressed that much weight in my life.
Well,
And the bar was bending,
creatine is just
and
a
I got it for
bulking agent,
3,
though.
and I was like, holy shit.
But TJ, creatine is a
But
bulking agent.
it
It's
worked,
something
Dan.
that
It
helps you get
worked.
bigger.
It
It helps you
worked.
get bigger. It doesn't make you work out longer. It helps you get bigger. It's something to add on to build on top
Right.
of.
I'm
So
with
that's I don't look at a creatine as a performance enhancer. Yeah, it helps if you're trying to get swole, but like you still gotta have the ability in said sport, no matter what you take. Coach,
It's a legal performance enhancing agent.
yeah, you
to
mentioned
TJ's
you mentioned Jose Canseco. Let's look at Jose Canseco could have been a Hall of Fame, but his skills didn't amount to much at the end of it all.
I don't
And
think
all he had was power at one time.
I don't think Sammy Sosa is a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's got great stats, but I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. He's one-dimensional player. But
Is he in
to
the five? Is he in
TJ's,
the 500 club?
he might be. He's I think, yeah. But to TJ's point, really quick, I had no business playing high school football. I'm 5'5". I was on that creatine and my 40 was down. I was bench pressing more than I could ever dream. Like, and again, I'm I was like free weights. I went from like 100 pounds to 150. I bulked up like to the you know
Because it puts on
to
water.
yeah, but I was my 40-yard dash went down by like 2 seconds though. I was running that
Bro,
below
my
5'0".
reps,
Like I couldn't.
my
I'm
reps
just
was
being honest with myself, and but at the same time, I think that's what jacked up my kidney, and I ended up losing a kidney playing football was because I was on the creatine and probably not properly using it in the first place. I always understood it
well,
and that it was a
that's what I was gonna say.
precursor.
'Cause I wasn't ODing. I wasn't ODing like you was because
Yeah,
I was already at 245, right? And once I knew I could get 245 for like sets of 12, I was like, okay. And then I took the creatine. I got to 300 quick. And then I got to 315, like with no problem. I was repping 315 for like 6 reps. I was like, oh shit. And then I hit that 330 for 3. You couldn't tell me nothing. You could not tell me nothing. I was like, you got to shoot me because if you bring a knife, you're insulting my intelligence. That's the way I felt. As I'm throwing up that type of weight. You know what I'm
330,
saying? I felt invincible.
335, I think was my highest I hit for one rep as like
The
a
bench.
max. But I didn't take shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I still thought about I still want to run one cycle just to
Dan,
just to,
Dan,
just to turn
Dan, I
it
don't think
up.
I
I
would
never
crack
needed
over. I don't.
creatine because I
Hey,
had the
that's all you
fat.
need, man.
I had the fat, so
I
I
don't
didn't
think
need
I'd
the
have cracked.
creatine.
I don't think I'd have cracked 315 without the creatine. And when I
Well,
was repping
yeah,
that for 6, I was
yeah.
fucking
Or
strong, bro. You couldn't tell me
again,
yo,
nothing.
I
TJ, that it does. We can look at my bad. We can look at it as a performance enhancer because it does help you bulk up your muscle. But you can get as muscular as you need. And if you still
Right.
don't
You
have
still
the
got to be able to
timing,
play the sport.
you still
I'm
got to be able to play the sport at a high
Facts.
level. It
I'm still
doesn't fucking matter the drug. They should. I'm sorry. You need to just legalize the shit. Just legalize the shit across the board. Because then guess what? Just like that dumb rhetoric of, or if everybody got a gun count will go down. No, in sports, this will
It's the
work.
same. It's the same thing.
No, but in sports, this will work. If everybody's taking a drug, nobody's cheating.
well, no, no. It depends. I'm gonna throw flag on the play. Look at what Lance Armstrong did. He got the best doctor in the business and yoked him up. I'm like, yo, you're not giving this crap to anybody. It was using EPOs at the time. He's like, you're not giving
And
this to
he was
anyone
doing,
else but me. And so it
and he
wasn't a
was
level play
doing
field.
He was no, because he was doing what cyclists have been doing for years,
Of course,
which is called blood doping. And blood doping is pretty much like a wash and rinse of the blood in your system to give
of
you
course.
fresh cells and everything. To where, yes, you still need the legs. And the blood doping helped with the endurance. That's where that enhanced the Lance
True.
Armstrong. Maybe he was getting like the platinum card level of blood. You know
Oh,
what
he
I'm
He
definitely
saying?
was
was.
no,
He
no, but
definitely
no.
was.
He was using a diabetic medicine called EPO because we're seeing that right now in UFC and MMA. So he was doing the blood doping and the EPO. But what I'm saying is when you legalize it, it no longer becomes about the best athlete, but the best chemist. And if you're okay with that, then you can live with that. But it's like, well, my chemist from Balco is better than your chemist from whatever East Coast
No,
stock or
no,
It's a
biogenesis.
slippery slope. It's a
and
slippery
and
slope.
because it's very slippery because it's still no matter. And I keep repeating this in this last 10 minutes. It doesn't matter the drugs sometimes. It still matters about how you perform because, like I said, when
So,
we bring it to
so Dan,
baseball,
what you're saying, Dan, is if I take the drugs, I can't be an NFL player. I can't be a professional UFC
well, I
guy.
mean, at
I
50
can't.
years
I
old,
can't run
let's
in
see if they'll let
the
you
NFL.
in. Let's see if they'll let you win at 50. But
The
point
drugs
is
should be helping
again,
me at that point.
but point is, but again, Barry Bonds is the perfect example to all of this. It's a guesstimate, but people assume, and he kind of said it. Jealousy ran him into taking the drugs. Yet, as we declared, and we know this for a fact because we were alive to watch him, the man was Hall of Fame 5-tool player talent as a Pittsburgh Pirate before he went to San Francisco. You had
Yeah,
the ability. The enhancement just made him that much stronger. to where now these fucking home runs just look easier. But the training that man put in, like one of the stories that my father, because my father is the baseball guy of the family, but he was somebody who probably should have made the majors too. Never forget when I found that he had a letter from the Reds that he should have fucking went to play for the Reds, but he didn't. He didn't take, he didn't follow through on it. But when I was hearing stories about Barry, hitting practice and they're throwing balls with numbers at him, and he's reading the balls, i.e., learning to train your eyes to slow down the ball and watch the rotation of the ball, calling out the number and hit, like, you can't take that level of shit away from a player. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I mentioned when baseball, there's thousands of cats who've taken steroids and didn't become what they thought they would. Yet there were
Look at
cats that played baseball at Toronto High School who was a long-time Major League Baseball pitcher who was
Dan.
known to take shit in high school, but his
Dan.
pitching ability still trumped.
Imagine if Tony Gwynn was on PEDs.
Then maybe
numbers
some of his hitting he would just be slow. I don't think it would have changed that much different. He might have had more home runs. He'd have been
He would have
more
been
home
way
runs.
more home runs.
He wouldn't have been. He wouldn't have been better of a hitter because he was
That
already
no,
big.
that's
He
strike
was already
zone though,
big.
because
So
that's
he
the
would
thing.
have been swole. He would have been swole, and his bat speed would have went down. He wouldn't have been a better hitter.
But that strike zone though, that's the one thing about Barry Bonds. I think it was Greg Maddux who was recently talking about it. It's like he was the easiest batter to throw at because you just kept peck away at the corners outside. You weren't throwing anywhere inside the strike zone. I think
Right.
it enhanced, like, I guess his eye, whatever it is. I don't know the science of it, but that strike zone was insane when he got bigger.
Yeah.
Like, but again, that's Barry
Yeah.
Bonds. We don't the human body. Each one reacts differently to different meds. We don't know with Tony Gwynn if it would if the strike zone would be insane, if he bulks up and becomes slower. He probably hits for more power than average is what happens. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's probably what
Yeah.
ends up happening. But
I don't think
you
it
know,
takes away from his eye because he had the best eye in the game. Like he
yeah,
recognized
no,
Kirby Puckett.
from right out of the hand. He already knew the pitch that was coming. He's like, I'm not even swinging at that. That's
my
insane.
my only pushback, if we're going to legalize it, is that please not in combat sports because someone can die, whether it's boxing or MMA or kickboxing.
I agree with
That's
that.
I would that was the only place where I want some sort of exemption if you're going to legalize it. We've seen an era of UFC
It
where
would
they
be-
were
it-
allowing TRTs, testosterone replacement, because the thing was is that a lot of these guys before it was legal were already using steroids. Your body stops producing testosterone at a certain age, but if you're getting a richer source of testosterone as from like a pill as opposed to your own body, it's your body stops producing it. So what you end up is you end up going to get eugenics, like the commercials say, you know what I mean? Like, and that's replacing your. Anyway, UFC was legalizing that, and we're seeing guys get title shots that had no business getting title shot because they were on the PEDs, they were on the legal juice, and once they started drug testing in UFC, it changed everything for a lot of people. A lot of fighters that were contenders were no longer contenders.
True indeed. But on the unalive part though, I take that any given Sunday, somebody can be unalive on any field.
Yes. Yes.
Even not drugged, especially even not drugged. That wrong blow to the head could be a wrap.
Yes. And that's what I want to say about boxing. You don't want to do that with boxing because it takes away from the gladiator sport that it is. Nobody goes into this fight jacked up. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not your true self. You're not your true self. So you want to beat the best at his best without being enhanced. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you get dudes get called out for loaded gloves and shit like that because you don't want to cheat. You don't want to cheat the game. You don't want to cheat the game. When you cheat the game, it taints it for everybody. And then now it's all fucked up because now nobody's watching the sport because you cheated the game and you don't know who to trust. It takes one person to fuck the whole thing up on a level that you're like, I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it at all anymore. So you don't want that. You don't want that in certain sports. I understand. you can do in other sports and you shouldn't do it in others.
But
But
you know what? But
don't cheat
again,
the game
TJ,
like that.
I'm being the antithesis in this whole conversation because so in when it comes to sports and drug taking, I if everybody has the same playing field to do, then it becomes your personal choice.
Right. But
That's my thing.
Like
It
Ed
becomes your
said,
personal choice.
you should go to
And
the one chemist. You only go to one chemist, so everybody's getting the same shit. You can't be
yeah,
like,
but
yo,
they're
my chemist is better
monopolized.
than your
It is
chemist.
so that so they have a monopoly in that era, just like regular major pharmaceutical companies, let their one person's pockets get fat. All right, I get it. But here's my thing. A lot of us who sit on the sidelines and sit on the couch and watch, we're watching this shit. That we're not watching it no more. No, that's not a lie. We're not watching the shit. I think we've been watching it more intensely because now we want to see what the jacked up juice guys allegedly jacked up juice guys can do. I
I
think we're
kind of
gonna
agree with
watch it
that
more.
too.
And
Yeah.
then on top of that, because jealousy is always at play in something like this. How many fucking fat motherfuckers? I'm fat, so that's why I can call. How many fat motherfuckers sit at home and say, "Man, I wish I could do not in circumstances that give up a kidney. I would give up a leg or a toe to be able to play in some of these leagues." You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that to make light, and I'm just saying that as
Yeah,
people say dumb shit like this, that they would want to be in those places.
Yo, baseball,
And so we're
baseball,
watching. That's the reason why I bring it up. We're watching still. We're still watching.
baseball had its highest viewership during the steroid era. That is,
1998 was 1998 was the year. I'm sorry to cut you. That was the year that saved baseball. I still got that. I still got one of the newspapers showing it when McGuire broke the home run record. That
oh you
season saved baseball.
yes,
you remember the commercial "Chick Stick the Long Ball" by Nike?
chicks digging the long ball.
Yes. Yes.
That's why,
That was
and
it.
that
But you
to
know
bring it
And
back
so
in the
now,
conversation.
you know
That's
what
why some
else?
of
right.
these
The
fences are
baseball
shorter.
games,
But
you
now,
know what?
but now, all these
Game
baseball
the game is
writers,
not 4 hours anymore. The game is not 4 hours anymore. With the pitch clock and everything, I appreciate that shit. I don't need to be at a game where I spend my entire day at the game. It's 6 hours gone. 6 hours gone. You got to get there. You got to find
yeah,
parking, do a little bit of tailgating. Then you go into the game. The game is 4 hours. 4 hours. Period. And if any team scores some runs, it's a 6 hour game because it's a long inning. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the Yankee game not last week, the week before. It started at 7:30. We was out by 10:30 because the Yankees scored 8 runs, and I was like, all right, they had some long innings there. But if it was a regular 9 inning game and they won 2-1, we would have been out of there by 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, dogs. You understand what I'm saying? Like you don't want to spend 4 hours at the stadium. You know how much money they were trying to extend the game because people were spending money at the stadium. The kids was hungry. You need water, all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Ed.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think that's why soccer's risen in popularity. It's 90-minute commitment. Maybe like right now, watching the overtime in the Euro Cup, you're gonna get another extra 15 minutes, maybe PKs, but still, so you're not gonna spend more than 2 hours watching a soccer game. I can watch my soccer game at 9 o'clock and be still have the rest of my day ready to go. Like it's just
Right.
it's an easy commitment. I
And
think
well,
you
it's
know
part risen in it's part risen. And I'll go back to it's part risen in popularity because parents don't want their kids getting their heads knocked in playing American football anymore.
Listen, no, Dan. But a lot of
Ed is
concussions
right.
happen
Ed
from
is right.
kids
Ed is
head
right
butting the
on
football.
they banned the header
There's a lot of
in little league
in
soccer.
little
They
kids league.
banned the
Yeah,
header. No
my
headers.
daughter,
yeah,
my
wow.
daughter's
yeah.
my daughter's played. I know. Yes, it
It's
was banned.
serious.
It's
It's
banned on the
serious,
kids
bro.
level. But
It's serious,
reality
bro.
is a lot of parents don't want their kids getting their heads knocked in at a young age playing football.
Hmm.
That's part reason why. And then now, and then too, like when you think about us as kids, we used to get up and play a football game anywhere. Now they don't, and especially in New York parks, they barely even allow that. But if you pick a soccer
Yeah.
hall around anywhere now, and it's getting the same basketball treatment of you can pull up and play basketball anywhere. Let's think about it. You can fucking just put a dot on a telephone pole, like, yo, that's the hoop. We're gonna shoot at the thing. And it's just like a soccer ball. The kids from upstairs from me go right across the street and kick the ball around right in front of that building over there. And they'll that fence is a goal. The other side is a goal.
Damn, you know what? When we used to play pickup game soccer, what we would do is like I take off my shirt. That's one goal. Put the little like futbolito, they would call it, little soccer.
Mhm.
Take my shirt off. The other dude take his shirt off. Plays skins versus shirts.
That's
you know
it.
what I mean? And that's your little goal right there. And third world countries, they don't, if you don't have access to soccer ball, they will literally roll socks upon socks upon socks to create a ball. Like
Just
that's the thing. That's yeah.
I was gonna say, just like the Dominicans and their batting practice with fucking bottle caps.
Yep.
Like,
And that's I think that's the problem. And I'll make this
You ever
really,
seen
really
that,
quick.
Al?
'Cause
That's crazy.
yeah, I'll make it really, really quick. But that's the thing about soccer in America. It's a soccer mom. It's a middle class soccer mom sport. In the rest of the world, doesn't matter if you live in the hood in London.
It's a
It doesn't
poor
matter.
man's sport.
It doesn't matter if you're in the sticks in Africa or South America. It doesn't matter if you're in a farm in Southeast Asia. It's the poor person's. That's how you get out your poverty is through
Me and
soccer.
my pops just talk about that shit. It's a poor man's sport, man. You know,
Going
and,
back
and
to-
here it's an upper class, middle class sport because it's the same thing with basketball. You have the AAUs, you got the
Pay to play. It's a
academies,
problem. Yep.
whatever.
hmm
You know,
But I digress.
And
My bad.
going back to these foreign players, like in the NBA, they get trained with grown men. It's not the same training that they get here. I don't know if it was Jay Billis when he was talking about the draft and he was talking about European players and how they train. He said they train as a team. If the point guard got to go through the drills, the center got to go through the drills too. And that's why you see these guys being multifaceted in their position. He said he said in America, the big men go over here, the little guys over here, and they do their training and they do their workout. It's more individual and less team. And he said,
it's position
once
player,
a player
position
understand,
players.
right, and once a center understands how the guard works and a guard understands how the center works, it's a lot easier to accomplish your goals. So we're not doing
It's
that
position.
here. It's more found on
position.
the individual than the team.
It's position design. It's position design training. Because we see that just from baseball camps. Camps is the biggest one now. It's just quarterback camp, wide receiver camp, D line camps, O line camps.
Right.
Like it's individualized. Like, and I wanted to add to the whole how to get up. Like bringing up my father again. That era, all you had to do was get outside. So where, like, again, when baseball was America's pastime, you were able to get 18 fucking kids from the neighborhood outside to play a baseball game.
that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, that's not happening.
We can't do that shit no more.
Yo, I was a part of that. We would get kids up on the block. We get kids up on the block, bro, and then we get 18 dudes, and we playing a full 7, 8, 9 innings until somebody says quit. You know what I'm saying? And if we got to switch it up, we switch it up. But we out there all day balling, bro. We're out there hooping and balling, bro. And those were some of the greatest moments in my childhood.
I see 18 kids outside right now. I'm calling the police. All right.
I'm crossing the white kids, black kids. I'm crossing the street. I'm old. I don't want that smoke. Man. I don't know what they're up to. It's not even a color thing. I'm just old. I'm crossing.
There's something going on out here.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Well, I mean, something going on out here. And all of us talking about all of this shit, especially with kids being outside. That's that glitch in the matrix of how we were all raised and grew up. And these kids don't go outside. Like my middle daughter be trying to force a younger sister outside. Like, come on, like I want to go touch grass. Like, and my younger daughter Zoe don't want to be outside.
Dan, nobody talks about being chased by a dog.
Oh yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah. Yeah. If you grew up, you got chased by a dog at least minimum 5 times in your life.
I don't think I've ever got chased by a dog, but where we're gonna go now is we're gonna talk about people from the era where they were using the dogs to chase people like us and Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
What a segue. What a segue.
You
Damn.
know, we
What?
watched these two
Gotta shake that off.
almost octogenarians. Well, one's an octogenarian, the other one's a birthday away. We watched one of the shit shows of most shit shows of debates there is. Um, my only lead in for this, and I'm gonna go to you. My only lead in for this was others. The overall stuff is you haven't been given more reason to start investing in a third party, to start investing in alternative candidates and other people. Get this fucking win loss shit out your head. That was the point. If you need to realize this is the result of consistently voting lesser of two evils. This is what you get. It was one of the cattiest. Like I'm trying to sound like I'm roasting my man's on the side over here. Moments from the two polls that don't like this. Well, one does because he's in New York, and the other one is I can't say the wrong word anymore. Like, it was just one of the
You
biggest
breaking up bad,
misses.
Dan. Yo, Dan, you
Yeah,
breaking
this
up.
man wind and shit. I'm sorry, y'all. But it was one of the biggest embarrassments to where the rest of the world is like, oh, these is your man's. Like
I'm
these is your. Go ahead, oh,
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell
man.
you, Dan. I'm gonna tell you, Dan. The what I got from it, and I was my pops. My pops is a huge geopolitics buff. You know all that. So he was knee deep into the shit. I said the best thing that happened for us and for the world was that this debate happened when it did. It happened in June instead of September. Because by September, half of us are gonna forget what happened in June. You know what I'm saying? That debate, watching that shit, the day after, the night it happened, everyone, damn near everyone in the Democratic side was like, yo, this dude needs to step down. You know, he needs to step aside and let somebody else. But in reality, there's no way it can happen. Biden, if Biden, there's no way Biden can step down because it's too late. It's too late for that. We're in July, and election day is in November. We're not gonna win. So you're gonna have Kamala Harris. You
No,
know, and I
I
mean,
think.
listen, if we didn't vote for Hillary, they're not gonna vote for Kamala.
Well, that's the thing. We did vote. We, meaning the American people, he won the popular vote. It's that dumbass electoral college that got her to hell. So people did vote for. Her. But to the Biden point, I'm gonna throw it to you, Ed. Like it is too late, and this is the DNC's problem. This is all their problem because they knew this man first off who said, "I'm gonna run for one term," and I said, "I'm not gonna run again. I'm gonna do this for one term, and I'm not gonna run again." The DNC should have held the fucking primary. They didn't because they thought that this octogenarian was the only hope to beat Trump because he did it once. He did it once because of the circumstances that the dumbass Orange Cheeto in charge put us in for
But
him
then,
to win.
who's it gonna have? So okay, so if it wasn't him, then who else? Because all right,
No,
so it's not
you
it's
didn't
not
hear me.
Kamala.
You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. We needed to run a primary to find another candidate.
But I'm saying
It doesn't matter who.
who's gonna be another candidate?
I'm not
I
talking who. They needed to run a primary to put
so
other faces out there for us to know
so to
these
O's
are the other viable people.
Other faces wouldn't have been enough to
to
beat
to
this guy.
O's
Hakeem
point.
Jeffries, bro.
To O's point, I don't know. Hakeem Jeffrey ain't leaving his spot. Are you kidding? He's about to be the majority leader. In why would you leave that job to become the majority leader of Congress? If certain things play a certain way, he's going to become the majority leader of the House. Why would you want to leave that cushy job to be president? That's not, and that's kind of where I'm going to O's point. the Dems don't have a deep roster, to put it in sports terms. Like, who are
That's
you
what it
going to trot
is.
out there? So, like, that's my question to everyone that's like, well, we should have had a primary. Okay, great. But the thing is the Dems don't have a deep roster. It just, I feel like there's a part of me feels that Biden would have still won. That's not to say that we shouldn't have a primary. There is a small window to get Biden out of the way, and that's the DNC, the convention, the Democratic convention, where they actually have the actual vote of the electorates. If they decide, if the powers that be within the Democrats decide to like push Biden out the way. Now the thing is, and here's the thing about having a primary in any election, whether it's local, state, or federal, taking out an incumbent takes a lot of money, takes a lot of
Yeah.
influence, takes a lot
Hmm.
of getting the right chess pieces, the right unions, the right endorsements together. And that's where the incumbent always has a head start. So to your point about a primary, okay, cool. But who's on the roster? AOC's never won anything more than a block. Same thing with Richie Torres. We're not, you know what I mean? Like they haven't won on the city level. You're gonna put them out in a
And
state.
and to what you just said with the money, which is another bigger issue that wasn't within this debate, Jamal Bowman just lost the race to somebody who shouldn't have won because of money, because of impact money, which again, impact is mostly funded by Republicans. So the Republican Party just helped get this guy out, all because one person said free Palestine.
So I disagree on
It's
that.
about this.
For I disagree on this level. And let me preface it with this. When I worked for the Bronx Borough president, I worked a lot with George Latimer. So I have a different view of him than others. The guy is very well connected within the Democratic machine. Like he just is. And so he's great at, even though he was I forgot what his position was, but he's made all the right connections with the Clintons who live in Westchester. He's made all the right connections in the Bronx with the Bronx Democratic machine. He's made all the right connections on a national level. Did he have APAC money come in? Absolutely, no denying that. But and that's where Jamal Bowman failed. He didn't play well with others, and in a lot of ways, because he's a part of the squad, I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, nothing that I know, but I feel like the Democratic Party wanted to make an example out of a squad member. It wasn't going to be AOC. It wasn't going to be Talib. It wasn't going to
It's
be
leave. Yeah.
Ihan. And Bowman was the most vulnerable because he didn't have those relationships that George Latimer had with a lot of the local other officials. If you notice
Big part,
the
yeah,
rap,
big part of
if
it,
you
big part of
notice,
it.
if you notice the rally that they had, that Bernie Sanders and AOC had for Bowman, one, what a mistake holding it in the South Bronx. That's not your district, bro. So you're holding this big rally in somewhere that's not even in your district. That's a little out of touch to me. Like if I'm helping run a campaign, that's a little out of touch. Two, it's not about who showed up or who didn't show up. You didn't have Hakeem Jeffries there. You didn't have Chuck Schumer there. You didn't have your Gillibrand there. And so your powerful Dems weren't ever supporting him to begin with.
Mm.
Part, but a
Mm.
lot of
The
that,
other
a lot
and
of
the
that.
other thing, the other
Not
thing,
to segue too far though, Ed. I just had to
sure,
rebuttal because a lot of that is tied to what's going on with Israel
of
and
course,
Palestine.
of
And
course.
because he's the guy who literally said free Palestine, like I do him all the fucking time now because though we never talked about it here, I definitely got fully invested in the shenanigans that's been going on. Everybody else is when you talking these connections, you're talking these, not playing well with other situations. That's the team hive mentality that they're on right now. If we got to side with, in my opinion, the criminals. He's not choosing to side with the criminals. And that's a part of that team hive mentality that you're talking about.
And I think it's connected with what we're talking about Biden too. Because the guy just it's still in a lot of ways. I often compare politics to boxing, but it is also a team sport that you have to have a harmonious lockdown. And obviously there's friction between far left and centrist, for lack of a better word. I hate using that term, but it is what it is. And so Bowman with between not playing, here's where he made a mistake and still keeping it in with the topic. You had to, yes, the election turned into a referendum on what's going on in the Middle East, but Bowman couldn't sprinkle in, hey, this is what I did for the district. This is what I brought to the district. voting against the infrastructure bill hurt him because he couldn't take some of those victories and be like, listen, I fixed the roads, I fixed this, I fixed that. And so he wanted it, and that was a mistake on Bowman and how he ran the campaign. He wanted this to be a indictment on what's going on in the Middle East, and it bit
and
him in the ass.
that side conversation we're having. But in all of that though, that's the obvious thing that side is playing on right now. Is what's going on in the Middle East. They're weighing most of their weight on all these congressional figures and all that on what side of this fence are you going to be on. And so what did they use? What did APAC do with running all these ads against them? They played that up the biggest.
Yeah.
They played that up the biggest when all he wanted was a ceasefire, which they should all. If you're claiming that you love humanity, you love people, you should all be requesting a ceasefire from these criminals over there right now.
But damn, it
And
goes
that's
right
what
back to
they
like
and that's what they weighed.
that was
That's
what
what they
his
weighed
team.
most of this on against them.
That goes back to his team, Ed. They didn't capitalize on the moment. They didn't seize, like Ed was saying. He's like, all right, but let's go back to what I did for you here. Well, over there is not affecting you as to what it's doing here. I'm fixing the roads. I'm fixing the
But
sidewalks. I'm
you,
doing this. I'm doing that. I'm helping out the community. And
Politics
I
is
mean,
all
TJ,
local at the end of the day.
I'm 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 in full agreement with what y'all are saying. Don't get that twisted, please. I am in full agreement. But when you listen to these radio ads that they ran against him, it was
yeah, they're
heavily,
horrible.
it was
They're
heavily
horrible.
just against his stance on free Palestine.
Yeah,
That they
yeah.
were heavily
They're
on
gonna
that.
milk that
So no,
cow.
it's literally.
They're gonna
So
milk that cow.
I just say but I say that to say literally no matter how much politicking and lobbying he put out there to have mentioned this is what I've done for you, it would still hang over his head. Yeah, but this, and you're not
Right.
on our team because of this. That's the
But
only
you got to
reason why.
counterpunch. And to take it back to Biden, that's where you got to counterpunch. And I think that's the frustration with the Democrats and that debate. That the counterpunch is he looked like an old tired boxer out there. And I always love referring to sports like combat sports. In Bowman's case, he knew that punch was coming. He knew that hook was coming, but he never really adjusted properly to counterpunch on that hook. I think same thing with Biden, and that was a frustration we saw in the debate was that he didn't. You got the guy openly lying, and he wasn't swift enough. It was past his bedtime, and he wasn't swift enough to counter.
Oh,
Yo,
I wanted.
we didn't even see a Bowman commercial, much
Oh, I've
less
heard on
With
No,
TV.
no,
We
I've
didn't.
on
seen.
TV.
No,
Ooh,
On
bro, I seen
TV,
on
we
plenty of
didn't
TV.
Bowman.
see.
No,
heavy,
Yeah,
heavy in New
yo, I
York.
seen plenty of Bowman.
Ooh, I saw
I
during the
I
I
see
NBA
more Bama
Finals.
commercials than Bowman commercials.
Yo, I
Bowman,
would now on
Uh,
the radio. I didn't see him on TV, but on the radio, I was hearing Latimer than Bowman commercials back to back,
mm-hmm,
yeah,
back to.
yeah.
But they were always
Yeah.
leading with Latimer's commercials.
mm-hmm.
No, on
That's supposed
MSG
to,
they were
but
leading with Bowman commercials, so it goes to
but then probably
whoever your
ended it with
product is.
Latimer.
Uh,
But
Right.
here's why I wanted to throw the counterpunch argument to TJ because he was making when we were pre-showing this. Biden was counterpunching. Biden's counterpunches, in my opinion, were sharper than Trump's were because Trump wasn't counterpunching. Trump was throwing late blows at the end of rounds to pull back punches that he caught in the first and second rounds. Trump kept rewinding the tape and going back 2 and 3 questions while Biden would answer a question, but then counterpunch all the dumb shit that Trump was saying, TJ.
Dan, I have a question.
So
So Dan, if the Biden that showed up at that rally, if the Biden that showed up at that rally was at that debate, there would have been nothing to talk about. It would have been Biden won the debate.
nah. You're missing it, Jamal. You're missing it because everybody's caught up on Biden's delivery, and that's what probably hurt him the most, his delivery.
Yeah.
But when he said Trump, he said something snapped in you when you lost. You're a whiner and you're a loser and you're a convicted felon. He said this shit live on air in front of millions of people, dogs. He brought up him cheating on his wife with a porn star while his wife is pregnant. He said these words.
He did. He
Trump's
That's
did.
and
He
embarrassing.
Trump's
did.
rebuttal. Trump's only
That was
rebuttal was she's not a
embarrassing.
porn star. That was his only
No,
rebuttal. She's
he
not a
said
porn star.
no. His main rebuttal was, and we're going to appeal. What the fuck? You've been convicted. You've been
Yo,
convicted. That's that you can't take that away from him. So
Biden.
Biden, yes,
I'm gonna tell you.
he looked like he
Biden's
had way too
delivery.
much. Oh. Let me tell you, he looked like he had way too much makeup on because you didn't want to see the Reaper if he just went up there with his straight face. You know what I'm saying? You just didn't want to see this. You didn't want to see the bones coming out the cheekbone. You know what I'm saying? You didn't want to see that, so they had to put some foundation on them and build them up. But and to add, I know you say the roster wasn't deep and like who we're gonna put out there, but I think any younger person would have skewered, flambéed Trump in a debate. I don't even think Trump would want to debate that person unless he said they lacked experience and like, how did you get into office? You know what I'm saying? It's just
I don't.
I'm
I don't.
I'm
I don't
tired.
disagree with
That's why
that.
I'm independent. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired of the same old. They just trope out the next person. Like we
We need an
need
age limit.
diversity,
We need an age
and
limit.
we need younger people to be involved because
Yes.
old white men running the country ain't doing it, bro. I'm
I
just
for-
done with
mm,
it. I'm
I
just
forgot
done.
how many episodes ago I said that. Oh, when you said we need an age limit. I'm sorry. I believe that the presidency should represent what I would say is like the middle age, median age of the state, anywhere between and whatever 25
40,
till about
no,
maybe
40,
65.
no,
Nah,
45 to
because
75, Dad. 45 to
no,
75.
no, because that 45 to 75 gives you old heads that are now out of touch with the newer generations that are coming up to vote. You're now out of touch. You're kind of 45. I wouldn't say is the start.
45 year
I
olds should not be out of touch with the younger
no.
generation, bro.
I
I mean,
this is why,
I don't
but
know.
that's
I
why I
speak
said
for myself.
I would give it up to all right. Forget 25, 30 till about 65 is the block that I believe that you should be able to become president between 30 and 65 because 30 you're not that
30?
far. 30 you're not, I said 25 at first, but I'll give it to somebody a little bit older because 30 you're a little bit more experienced. Even though 30 is the age where you really start to gain that true life experience. But once you start hitting that 50s, 60s, and you're a different 50-year-old, let's just keep it.
I was gonna
We're
say,
going
yo,
to we're going to be a different generation of 50-year-olds because we are of the hip hop generation. This is the correlation
But
I'm trying to
Dan,
put
I'm
into the
50, I'm
differences.
51, Dan. I'm 51, but I can still relate to what my daughter listens to and what she
This
absorbs
because
and everything like
what
that.
did
And
I
she's
did you
25.
not hear what I just but did you just not hear how I framed it?
Yeah,
It's because we're different.
I
We
didn't hear
grew up
you.
and I framed it because we are within this hip hop generation.
I
we
was gonna
we've
say,
grown
Right.
with we've grown with this quote unquote rebellious whatever, but we of the hip hop generation that just tying into rap music that fully appreciates rap as a whole and can go back and go down and listen to some youngers while still respecting what we came up on. That's a connection that I'm saying that we could build. Not saying that we need
Okay.
somebody that
Okay.
represents hip hop as the president. I'm
Right.
using
No,
that
no, no,
as
no.
an
I get it.
example. I'm
I get
using
what
that
you're
as an
saying. I get
example,
what you're
right, of connecting with people of an age range. You know what I'm saying? Like
I
these
was gonna say,
70,
TJ, you're 51, and your daughter's 51 is gonna be totally different.
exactly.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
totally
Right.
different.
and I should. And
You
listen,
know,
but I can't comment. I can't comment on her 51. I'm out of touch at that point. You know what I'm
right?
saying? I'm
No,
100
I'm
years
like,
old, dogs.
but do you
I'm not.
understand?
I'm not.
But do you understand why I said the age range and what it's because that like I
Yeah,
said, I
no,
think
I agree with the age range. I agree with the
we're of
age
a
range.
thing that we grew up differently to where we can I got on TikTok because my at the time she was 14 kind of put me on and was showing me all the funny stuff and it was like yeah I need to be over there because this is my type of silly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can relate.
Right.
I can relate to my younger kids because I sit there and watch the shit that they watch to understand
Right.
what they're on. But also,
Right.
I find shit that I grew up on within that. So I'm talking like a president should be more relatable to the newer level of voters. You're trying to get 70 plus an almost 80-year-old and an 80-year-old to relate to new voters at the age of 18, where these new voters at the age of 18 are getting a lot smarter and are not falling for this bullshit anymore.
Right.
And
Right.
again, I keep saying, I keep talking about the elephant in the room. We talk about New York like it's a planet, right?
It
I
New
was
is.
York is
just
not a
about to say that.
planet.
Thank you.
We
Oh,
are.
thank you.
We are. We are.
New York is not a planet.
we we
Because when you're
are.
talking about middle
Fuck
America,
that.
when you're talking about Americana, Appalachia and all that, like they have a totally different mindset. You
51
know,
to O's point, 51 in New York City, where you could be single and doing the Sex in the City thing, is different than
it's
51 in West
different.
Virginia. And
Yes.
so,
Valid. No, it's
like,
true. That's
you
real
can
shit.
be you can be on
That's
your
facts.
old man on you can be on your old man on doing the Bill Belichick thing, smashing 24-year-olds, and it's acceptable in New York City and Los Angeles. That's
Yes.
not
Right.
acceptable, or maybe it's looked upon different. I wouldn't
Facts.
say acceptable,
Wrong.
but it's looked
Let's
upon
get to the.
different.
Mm.
And looked
Well,
We
upon
get to
Not in
the.
different.
West
We.
Virginia. Not in
I'm
West
sorry. I'm
Virginia,
sorry.
but maybe.
I was about to say because most of these mountain redneck states they trying to still smash 15-year-olds down there. But
yeah.
I
But
digress on that.
yeah, yeah,
If
but
anyone's gonna be sleeping with my sister, it's gonna be me.
Exactly.
fair,
See what I'm
fair.
saying?
But I think that's the thing about, and again, it's the difference between running a local race where you're running for a borough or a district compared to a national
Right.
race where you got to appeal to a whole lot of different demographics that you might not relate to. Look, Kamala is going to relate differently to a different demographic than Biden, even within that same ticket. And that's why you try to diversify
Right.
the ticket as much as you can in theory.
Well,
And,
you
and,
bring
and
you bring her name up though. She ain't relating to nobody because a lot of people have turned on her like that.
she did that to herself. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's just,
that part.
and she did that to herself. And to an earlier point, we talked about a primary not having one. I mean, we did have a primary where Biden was involved. Okay, things have changed since then, but it was like a 30-person battle royal between 30 Democrats. You had Kamala, you had
Yeah.
one of the Castro brothers, you had diversity, you had Mayor
Yeah.
Pete, you had youth,
Yeah.
you had the LGBTQ, you had black folk, you had Latino folks, and Biden still came out on top. I don't think anything would have changed, especially as an
Yeah.
incumbent. Now, that's not to say
Yeah,
I didn't want a primary. That's not to say I didn't want a primary. It's not to say that at all. But what I'm saying is that he's already battle tested
but
and won.
the only
Right.
pushback on that, Ed, is
Right.
the difference is I don't really recall that going through the people. That was the DNC chose, and the party themselves. They did this to themselves. That's why these assholes are now scrambling, thinking that we need to replace this guy. But like Big O said, nah, it's too late, homie. It's way too late for that. The party did that to themselves. They put
I don't.
Yeah.
the,
We're not
the
replacing him.
Democrats put themselves in this position. And I'm gonna
I
continue
don't.
to say it because, like TJ said, I'm independent too. Fuck that. I'm
I
independent too.
don't.
I haven't
I.
voted Republican, but I'm independent.
They could potentially do it at the Democratic convention part at the Democratic convention. But I don't like it because I've been taking the choice away that if we were going to replace him, the choice has been taken away from me to choose who I wanted. There
Right.
that's kind of where I have a problem with it. I'm of the frame of mind. Screw it. Let's ride this old horse to the end and see what happens. I'm kind of at that point. I mean, would I vote for the name you keep hearing is Gavin Newsom out of California. You hear Kamala. I don't even know who else you could potentially slide in. Maybe Mayor Pete because he's been doing.
Right.
He's the head of the Department of Transportation and was a big part of this infrastructure bill. But I think the other problem is the messaging of the Democrats. The Democrats have it's like it can't just be I'm not Trump. They have wins in the infrastructure bill. They have wins with
So
getting the price down in medicine. They have They have W's that they need to push more forward.
So,
But
do you
you're
think
right.
Jeffries would ever run for president? You think would Jeffries ever run?
No, no. Why?
But forget that for a second because you're right. There are wins, but unfortunately, the position that they placed themselves in is we need to beat Trump. That's what seems like the lone focus is. Yes, there's wins. The people aren't paying attention to the wins. The people are paying attention to Project 2024 and everything that Trump says, and just as like, nah, we can't have that. We'll do with those anything but that. And now Biden, fuck, we wanted to believe in you, but you just made yourself look like shit. Now we have to ride with this piece of shit to the end.
But
Because
Dan,
it's just about beating Trump right now. That's all they're on. It's not about policy right now. This is
Dan,
literally this is Cowboys versus Eagles, or Giants versus Cowboys, like, or Giants versus Patriots Super Bowl. This is just two teams trying to beat the other team. Fuck the policies, fuck the flake gate, fuck everything in between. This is just trying to beat the other team right now.
Dan. After everything's said and done, that's what it is. It is fuck the policies. It is it's we have to beat Trump. You know what I'm saying? Because again, middle America is all voting for Trump. Middle America saw the debate as a win, right? Forget the fact that everything this man said was a lie. Everything this man said was I mean, he was just as bad as Biden, but no one's talking about it.
Oh, they don't care. They don't
Everyone's talking
care.
about
Oh,
how
they don't care. They
right.
don't
They
care.
don't they
They
don't.
don't care.
They don't.
He can
So
lie to
it
their
wasn't it
face.
wasn't it
They
wasn't
don't
and,
care.
it was something I told my pops. It wasn't even so much the fact that he didn't even care if he was lying or not. He was caring about building his base. He was caring about building his following, right? So at the end of the day, the Democrat, as far as the Democrats are concerned, it's about beating Trump because he's the final boss in the video game. You know what
And
I'm
you
saying?
know where they took the win to? Oh, of course, right when I wanted to talk, the win kicks in. Right where where they beat them? Just because Biden stumbled and said, we defeated Medicare. We
That
defeated
was that was bad luck.
like hooray. I finally beat like me when I finally beat Mortal Kombat on 50 Cent on the arcade machine. Then I walked outside the thing and I was like, fuck, we lost because my bike got stolen. That's how that moment was.
it
You know what I'm
was a quick
saying? Like,
win. It was a
yeah,
quick win.
we defeated Medicare. Oh wait, nah, I
It was a
fucked up.
moral
Shit.
victory. It was a
Yeah,
moral
I got I
victory.
got
we
I got to
did
walk home now.
Medicare, but that was to me, that was the stumble. Did Biden talk? Him speaking felt a little incoherent here and there. Where I gave the eye, you know what? I dropped my guard a little bit was when I learned that he grew up with a stutter. So okay, you're gonna stutter a little bit. I'll get it. You got to pass on that, but then it's at the age. To me, the hardest me most is the fucking age. You're telling me the person who represents this country, the alleged greatest country in the world, is 80 fucking plus years old. Yeah, when this guy comes in who pretty much wants to just bring back white supremacy and let all the billionaires run the fucking country, he's going to be plus years old. Wow, like this is what I'm talking. Like, nah, that
Dan,
shit is stop.
Dan, have we talked about these billionaires buying Supreme Court justices? Like Clarence Thomas accepted over $4 million
We
in gifts, and,
haven't talked about Clarence Thomas
and
and the
Alito.
woman.
I mean, these guys are in these billionaires' pockets, man. And there's no overseeing the Supreme Court justice. There's no mechanism to
But there's
to
no
get
oversight
them
committee.
out. They have to retire.
There's
But
no
this is
oversight committee.
this
Well,
is this is where
go
I
ahead,
have a
Ed.
problem with. This is where I have a problem with Biden. He can solve this by adding. It is within his power, presidential power, to add more Supreme Court judges. Oh, is this how we're? That's how, if I remember correctly, that's how FDR got Social Security. I think it was through the whenever it was challenged in court through the Supreme Court was. oh, then I'm just gonna add more judges. And since I am president and I get to choose them, I'm gonna choose the ones that I want.
I,
That's
I
kind of how
would
you.
just
That's so. But he chooses
a
not
quick
to do
question to
that.
you on that. A quick question to you on that. Besides just adding them, does the president have like at least as far as executive power to does the president have at least executive power to now push term limits on them?
Oh,
No,
that's more of a no,
No,
no. That's
I think that
no.
no. That's a
That has to go through
constitutional
that's the
Congress.
change.
That has
Constitution,
to go
right?
through
That's
That's a
Congress.
Constitution.
You need what is it? 3/4 the vote in order to change the constitution, and we can't even get a 50-50 on styrofoam or paper cups in Congress. So that's a
Currently,
no go. That's a no go. Your best bet is just to add more judges to the Supreme Court.
yeah.
That would be the best bet.
But I mean,
Which it
listen, at a point, does that number get ridiculous? You go to 11, you go to 15, you know what I'm
I
saying? You
mean,
go to 25, like
that's
23,
What's it now?
21. Like,
6?
where does it stop?
it's at 9 right
It's
now, if I'm not
9.
mistaken.
I
I'm
would
okay
say
with
It's
it.
at
whatever
9.
I
But
would
then we go to
I would
11,
say I would say
13.
whatever I would say whatever brings balance because Jamal, we just witnessed that this fucking clown court of the Supreme Court pretty much just said by way of like a loophole within the law that what happened on January 6th was okay.
Yeah, we need to add more judges because the Supreme Court has lost its ability to actually render out a solid decision on anything, and four of them are bought and paid for without a doubt. Alito, Clarence Thomas, anger management, Matt or whatever his name is, and then
Kavanaugh.
the crazy woman. Yeah, I was talking about Kavanaugh. Yeah, the crazy woman. So those Kavanaugh and the crazy woman are Trump appointees that out of their mind. Alito doesn't even hide his bias anymore, and Clarence Thomas uh, just rendered an opinion where he believes that Brown versus Board of Ed should
I
be
saw
revoked.
that.
So he is now, and I hate using those terms, but he is not even trying to hide that he is a professional coon. He is straight up brainwashed to the point where if they ask him to adjudicate on the topic of slavery, he would like bring that shit back, chain them niggas up. You know, that's what he would do.
Because
He is
he's
so
above it.
far gone. He
Because
is
he's
so
above it.
far gone. Yeah, so far gone. And everything he's against, he benefited from. That's the killer. That is the killer. And at this point, it's not about conservative or Democrat. He wants to inflict as much damage onto brown skins that he can do.
He
Whatever
really
is going to
does.
get him a pat in the head from his mama, who was, the ringleader of January 6th. So
He really does look like Ruckus, Uncle Ruckus from
he's
Yeah,
Scooby
he
he's
Doo.
does.
beyond Ruckus. Yeah, he's almost
Like he
beyond
looks
Ruckus.
the
You know,
role. He looks the role.
he
Like
does. I would cast
only
him
thing missing
if
is
he
the
did a
eye
live
twitch.
action thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
live action Boondocks. I would cast him. They said, "Who you want?" I say, "Somebody, give me Clarence Thomas's agent, like right now."
He's up for sale anyway. You can get him.
That's it.
He's up for
That's right.
sale.
Yeah, he's up for sale. He turned to his wife. He's like, "What my price, babe?" You know what I mean? He don't care. He would bring back auction block from South Carolina, Virginia, and New Orleans if he could. Reinstitute buck sales. That's
He
what that
doesn't
dude would do.
understand that he would never be able to meet his wife under those circumstances. Like
Well,
The
he would
in
wife
never
his
is
be
the
mind,
able to meet
ringleader.
her.
The wife
he
is
don't
the puppet
think.
master.
Yeah. See, when he looks in the mirror, he's not black. He's OJ. He thinks that way, so he don't see the rest of it.
It goes
So
right. It's exactly what Jamal
Yo,
mentioned. It's
Jay,
this guy
that must
came up
be
and
one of the
benefit.
best lines you ever said.
Yo, but it goes right to what Jamal said. It's the man, everything that he climbed the ladder up off of, he literally wants to take out every rung that's followed behind it.
mhm,
Yes,
yeah,
Fuck you niggas,
literally,
I'm out.
literally.
I hate to be
That's
that
what
way,
he's
man.
doing.
Especially in public, I hate to be that way, But at this point, if you ask him a decision that he'll say, "What's the worst decision possible I could make?" That one.
Right.
That's what he'll do. That's how he lives his life at this point.
Right.
I could
How
not
much?
believe he
How
sat there
much?
and
How
criticized
much you
Brown
think
versus
that
Board of
decision
Ed.
costs? How much you
Mhm.
think that decision costs?
Yeah, man. So that's just to my greater point that yes, I think the Supreme Court has lost its ability to function as a court, and the thing that your justice for life probably needs to be looked at. Um, and the only way to fix it right now is you have to balance it out. You have to add more judges, and and see what's what. But again, the court got this way because of the people of the United States. When you say that when you say that okay, it's a
Thank
choice
you.
between two bad candidates, no, there's not, motherfucker. There's more involved because one presidents get to appoint judges, and there's always more at stake. There's always they're not equal. They're both bad, but they're not equally bad, and that's the way you got to think
And
when you
this
make.
next, to Jamal's point, this next president is probably going to choose
Two,
two
yeah.
potential Supreme Court judges. I think Sotomayor is on her way out. I think Alito's the
He
other
just
one on
got
his way
in.
out.
Alito is man. Sotomayor, I think, is emotionally damaged from
Yeah,
what's what
yeah.
happened. She
She
it's too
her,
much for her.
Mm.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
She's
And
not. Yeah, it's one of those things where you get to a position of power and you see the books to what's really going
yeah,
on, and you're like,
yeah,
oh, maybe ignorance is bliss on this. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
That's the
Sotomayor
truth,
is
man.
like, just because the job is for life, she's one of those people that just because the job is for life doesn't mean she's gonna die on that job, or it
Right.
caused her to wither her health. I think there's rumors that she just wants out of the crazy train. So
Mm.
She
And
and
sees
that's
that's
potential,
where,
okay.
man. Yeah,
And
and
that's
see,
okay.
and that it is totally okay, and that's reasonable. To be honest with you, that's reasonable. That's almost adult like. I know when my time is done. Let me bow out while my time is
It's
done.
good
But here's the
self-awareness.
They're
problem,
not a lot. A
right?
lot. A lot of people are not going to do that because of the money.
And here's and that's what I was gonna go right into, or kind of right into, is the fact that it goes back to what I mentioned before. This is a team thing. This is a team game. These guys is like the ones that are lifetime appointees. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not going anywhere. Those people, they know to keep their team up top and on board, they're going to stay until they die there.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I think that's where a large part of the problem is where it's a team game. So if Biden was able to wake up from his daydreams and walking dreams, yo, Joe, somebody slap in the head. Yo, Joe, yo, go get us two.
Fam,
Balance this
I don't
shit
care
out.
if that dude's dentures fall out during the debate. I'll vote for that motherfucker simply
What-
because at
because
least
why?
when you vote, he gets to appoint two judges. It's more than just the man or the woman. It's more than just the person when you're voting for the president. Is he great? No. Is he 83? Yes. Is he governing like an 83-year-old American white man? Yes. All right. However, at least there will be another election after him. If you do the other way, it's game over. It's game over. And people don't understand it.
January 6th was a test run to
It was a
see
test run.
what he can get away with. What will happen, my opinion, what will happen with Trump, to Jamal's point, he will install the judges that he wants to install. He will get rid of the generals he needs to get rid of. Weirdly enough, Pence was like kind of the hero in the equation in January 6th, ironically,
Unreal, but
because
true. Yes.
he's the one that's
Yeah.
like, no, I respect this Constitution thing. And people keep asking me, well, you're exaggerating. I'm like, he already kind of pushed the limits of the Constitution. He's
He
already
almost
seen
died
where
for
there's
life.
holes. And so to me, that's why the choice is simple. Like to me, it's now I don't live in a battleground state. I know people get mad that it's not a general election where the majority vote wins. I always view it as 51 mini elections. And I happen to live in a state that's not a battleground state, which I'm kind of happy because there's real pressure for people in those battleground states to vote Biden. And I understand if you're a Democrat that leans more to the left and you feel some type of way about it, whether it's because of his policies in the Middle East or whatever, I get that. But to me, I think AOC kind of said the same thing. It's like, okay, we're gonna have these issues, but with Biden, we kick the can down the road 4 more years, but we'll be able to try to solve those issues 4 more years from now. With Trump,
Yes.
that may not be an option of 4 more years. This may, if Trump wins, there's a scary. I'm scared that this might be the last free election in the U.S.
I
And
don't see it. I
That's
see what you're saying, but I don't see it as last free election. I see it as this man making some type of executive decision to say there is no more. That's it. I'm
no,
the top, and then I'm going to appoint who's next. I.e.,
Nobody's
he
gonna.
wants to. He
Nobody.
wants.
That'll be his death knell. Nobody.
He wants to
Nobody is
be.
gonna agree to that.
I think he wants to be like Putin.
a
I
Of
think
dictator.
course he
he
does.
wants to be
That's
like
exactly
Kim
what he
Jong
wants to
Un,
do.
yes,
Absolutely.
and
A
And
that's
dictator.
that's what
He's
we
got a
should be
absolutely.
more
cable of
fearing of.
doom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we so TJ, yeah. Nobody, it's not a nobody's gonna allow this shit. No, once he's got the power of executive
Word.
decision,
It ain't gonna get
he
to
ain't
that.
there's it don't matter what we say anymore.
Yeah, it's not gonna get to that.
It don't matter. And then the whole threats of like the things like martial law, things like that. I've always said to my friends in the military, now I live in the military, so it's really bad. So when the government tells you to finally turn the guns on, what are you gonna do? And this is, to me, this is the level of thought that comes into play with a Trump presidency. But like Ed said, I know what I'm doing because we ain't in no battleground state. I'm gonna vote.
Even
You might see Daniel Darrell
even
Dinkins on
dirt.
that ballot, but I'm gonna vote because guess what?
Right.
That dumb argument that people like to say, oh, if you don't vote, you can't complain. No, fuck you. As an American, we have the right to complain no matter what. We were afforded the right to or not to vote. But I'm gonna vote.
But then, even during the debate, they asked him, you know, would you seek retribution against the people who wronged you? He never really answered that question.
Right,
He
because
never
is he
really
gonna
answered
be
that
dumb?
question.
Is he gonna be dumb enough to say that shit on live television? No, but in
He
many
was
of
close.
ways,
He was close.
in
He was
many of
close.
ways,
He was like,
in many of ways, TJ, in many of ways, he's already shown us. He's already shown us.
That's why he didn't need to say it because he's like y'all already know the deal. Y'all already know what I'm gonna do.
Exactly. Y'all niggas know what's
Already
up.
know.
That's see. Yeah, exactly. That's what he hit him with. Oh, he remember he's from New York and say you already know.
You already know.
You already know. But you know what I already know is this is definitely 2 weeks worth of backup calls. We done. we don't. We're on the other half of the almost close to 3 hour mark, which we haven't done in a long time. We done. Ed,
Oh, want to thank you guys for letting me come off the bench. Miss Lisper, I don't know what happened with his connection, whatnot. I'm sure whatever is going on with him, nothing but the best, nothing but positive vibes from him. And yet again, thank you guys for having me on. This was fun.
Jamal.
All right, yo. Sorry I had to dip off for a minute, yo. Had some appliance issues, but Ed, always a pleasure having you on, man. Uh, Big O, TJ, Mayor, peace to the Lisper and his technology. Peace to Ishtar, peace to Disabled Planets and Ill Magic. Big O.
Nah, yo, great show, man. Talk about all my favorite topics. You know what I'm saying? I was able to get edgewise and enjoy myself, man. Great show.
Now he's
What's
getting to
with
eat
you? The
some of his
beef patty?
now he's eating some of his favorite food. Come
Yeah,
on.
nah, this is the chocolate, man. This is chocolate. But nah, man, great show, man. Hell of a show, man.
This is
Looking
this
forward
is
to next
running
week,
like a
man.
baseball game now. Like in
Pass it on TJ real quick. I'll go back to my
My
food.
man went
He's
up to
eating,
Merrick
he's
Boulevard and got him a patty and cocoa bread.
he's eating his instant and glizzy.
Oh, man.
Yo, how do
oh, yo.
Let me get two.
Yo, shout out to Ed for coming on. You know, you can come on anytime you want, man. It's always vibes. It's always good when you come on. Shout out to Lisper. He was having some technical difficulties. Thank God it wasn't me this time. Uh, yo,
Pay the bill.
Jamal and O. I like to see us. Yeah. I love when we all get on. I haven't seen you guys in a minute, so I appreciate all of us getting on today. Good topics, great opinions from everyone as usual. It's always a good time. I look forward to next week. Go ahead, Dan.
As always, use that code Starry5 at hicksrub.com. Get 20% off your order. If you don't see the sweat, that seasoning helps make your meat pause, makes your meat glisten like on the barbecue grill, like my forehead is right now. So get to that hooks rub, get that nice dope seasoning to spice up your meats. Yeah, this was a really good one. This was one that felt like it was needed. It felt like we needed to get some shit off our chest.
Word,
And we
word.
did that. We'll be back next week, or maybe we might be back next week a little bit later. I'll tell you about once we close out what's up. But it might have to go later in the day, next Sunday if you don't mind. Um, yeah, sorry to shout out to John Armstrong Philly Cigar Week. Sorry we actually missed out on a couple of us forgot. I can tell you straight up, car troubles ain't getting me past Crown Heights, Brooklyn. So working on getting a new car. But yeah, man, just stay on the lookout because something I'm going to talk to the brothers about, and TJ and I we was talking about a pre-show a little bit. But next year makes 10 years for the Star Pop podcast, and just like
Yeah.
hip hop is, regardless if y'all been celebrating or not, y'all are people of friends of ours, whatever y'all gonna come through. I think we're gonna have a series of events to celebrate the 10 years of this podcast. Yeah, this little podcast thing we do, which side note, I find it funny that when I'll tell people, yeah, I got a podcast, you go on here and check it out, go plus, go subscribe, whatever, whatever, whatever. Then a couple weeks later, people be like, wait, you do a podcast? Hey, nigga, I fucking the logos on the back of my car. You see the back of my phone case each and every day. Like this ain't no fan service. This is fan service for self, for us. Yeah, I've been doing one. How many times I told you I do one? That we do, I got one with a team. Like y'all gonna fuck with us though. 10 years next year. Got some things in the works. And yeah, we out. Peace. See y'all
Yes,
next week.
sir.
Peace.